Chapter 2391. Although her flesh wounds had healed, the hidden power in her body hadn't dissipated. If this power couldn't be eliminated, although she was an immortal, she would slowly weaken and age. Even the power she cultivated would be devoured and dissipated. The peony fairy was still in the devil world. The power system of the devil world was different from that of the god world. When a god came to the devil world, most of their power would be contaminated. Thinking about it, the peony fairy's situation wasn't very good. Previously, he only knew that the devil master of the devil world gave the peony fairy whatever she wanted. He even started a war with the god world because of this. There were other hidden things. Ning Shu touched his chin. When his body's problem was solved, should he go to the devil world to find the peony fairy? Ning Shu felt the power in her body flowing away, just like an hourglass, her power dissipating. What he needed to do now was to eliminate this power in his body. Ning Shu looked up and saw an endless mountain range. Ning Shu flew out of the pit and sensed that many mountain spirits had gathered around her in just a short while. There was also a ginseng with 2 leaves on its head and a monkey. All of them were hiding in the dark to observe her. They were probably attracted by the fragrance of the immortal pill. Legend had it that one could become an immortal after eating one. What was the point of becoming an immortal? Now that the god world was gone, those gods had no place. Even the gods who barely survived could only live in the mortal world. Ning Shu walked slowly with a long line of mountain spirits following behind her. She guessed that these mountain spirits wanted to eat her. He wasn't an immortal peach or an immortal pill. He was just a grass. It was useless to eat him. It was only because she grew up in the divine realm that she was able to take human form. The mountain spirits behind her all had better roots than her. However, she was born in the mortal world where spiritual energy was thin. This was something that could not be helped. If she wanted to ascend to the divine realm, the chances were a little slim. The god world was another space of this plane. It was a subsidiary space of this plane. The devil world existed independently of this plane. He felt that the heavenly Tao wanted to destroy these 2 spaces. Maybe this space affected the plane, or the plane couldn't bear the burden, so it decided to be destroyed. It was as if 2 tumors had grown in his body. He didn't feel anything for a short period of time, but as time passed, the tumor would affect his health. Ning Shu found a cave, which was probably the home of a bear. The moment he entered, there was a foul smell, and there were some white bones under his feet. It would be better to sleep on a tree branch than to live in such a place. Ning Shu pointed his finger and water immediately gushed out, washing away all the animal bones and human bones out of the cave. Even the feces and other filthy things in the cave were flushed out. Only then could the cave breathe again. The water droplets evaporated. Ning Shu walked into the cave and set up a barrier around the cave, blocking the mountain monsters outside. Some of them hit the barrier and were sent flying. Ning Shu began to control the inexplicable power in his body. The spirit chi that Ning Shu absorbed was devoured by this power and began to dissipate. Ning Shu looked inside his body and scanned his body inch by inch with his mental power. What kind of power made his body unable to store energy? After checking again, he didn't find anything. Ning Shu was confused. Could it be that his body had become a funnel? Impossible. His meridians and dantian were fine. There was no damage, but why couldn't he store any spirit chi? And the spirit chi that was originally stored in his dantian was slowly decreasing. What was going on? It was a bit weird. Ning Shu didn't give up. He scanned his body again and again, checking his dantian and the complicated meridians of the human body. Especially the meridians of the body, he checked them one by one. High concentration consumed a lot of mental power. There were so many meridians in the body. Ning Shu only checked a little and was already so tired that he wanted to vomit milk. When he opened his eyes again, the sky was already dark. There were some peaches outside the barrier, and a monkey was squatting beside them. Ning Shu removed a little bit of the barrier and said to the monkey, "Come in." The monkey immediately jumped happily and chirped. He walked into the barrier with a few peaches in his arms. When he arrived at the cave, he held the peaches and walked into the cave on his knees. As soon as the monkey saw Ning Shu, he immediately began to make a comical bow. He knelt on the ground and bowed, then handed the peach to Ning Shu with both hands. This peach was quite big, but it was not as fresh as the peaches in the divine world that grew up in the spirit chi. Ning Shu took the peach, and the monkey's dark eyes flashed with hope. The monkey was smart and wanted to use a few peaches to exchange for immortal pills. Ning Shu touched the peach. It was estimated that the peach had been washed. There was no hair on it. Ning Shu took a bite. It was quite sweet. When the monkey saw Ning Shu eat it, he was very happy. He raised another peach for Ning Shu. Ning Shu finished the peach and threw away the pit. He said directly, "You can't become an immortal just by eating immortal pills. Not becoming an immortal now is the best choice. As long as one was a god or a fairy, they would have to face the cleansing of the heavenly Tao. They would be free in the human world and would not be remembered by the heavenly Tao. Moreover, even if they became an immortal, when they reached the divine world, they would be weak and could only be servants or mounts. It was not that good." When the monkey heard Ning Shu's words, his bright eyes dimmed. He chirped in a low voice, looking very pitiful. Ning Shu could not help but laugh. This monkey was actually pretending to be pitiful. Ning Shu said, "I came from the divine world, but the divine world is not that good. How about this? I will teach you a set of breathing techniques. Anyway, your cultivation will be more powerful." Although the monkey was disappointed that it didn't get the secret manual, it was still very happy that it got the celestial art to cultivate. It hurriedly bowed to Ning Shu. Ning Shu tapped its forehead with a finger, then told it to leave the peach behind and leave. After the monkey left, Ning Shu restored the barrier. He finished all the peaches and was in a bad mood. He wanted to eat more. He had to quickly solve the problem of his body. Ning Shu began to check his meridians again. He checked every corner of his body, even his hair. In the end, Ning Shu looked at the ceiling in a daze. What was the problem? There was clearly no problem with his body, but his strength and vitality were dissipating. Ning Shu rubbed his swollen temples. He was very tired. He wanted to sleep, but Ning Shu suspected that he would become an old woman if he woke up. Ning Shu touched the peach beside him and realized that he had finished eating it. During the time he was in the human world, Ning Shu had been looking for the problem with his body. However, as his vitality and strength dissipated, Ning Shu still could not find the problem. If this dragged on, the strength that she had painstakingly cultivated would be almost depleted. Without strength, how would she be able to face the upcoming changes? Chapter 2392. Most importantly, when there was no power to support such a collapse, the vitality in her body would begin to collapse. Her body would become weak, and in the end, she would die. The monkey sent some fruits every day. If it was not peaches, it was other wild fruits. In any case, Ning Shu could not name them. The taste was not bad. Ning Shu now needed to eat to maintain the energy in his body and resist the nameless power to dissipate his vitality. Every time the monkey sent something, Ning Shu would eat it clean. Other than cultivating, he would constantly check his body. The spiritual energy in the mortal world could not be compared to the God realm. Naturally, his cultivation could not catch up to the God realm. In addition, his strength was still constantly dissipating. Ning Shu felt that his strength was getting weaker and weaker. He was also getting more and more panicked. However, Ning Shu tried his best to suppress his panic. He carefully checked his body, meridians, and blood vessels. Meridians and blood vessels were two different concepts. There were many blood vessels in the body. It was a big project to check all of them. There was no problem with his dantian and meridians. Ning Shu could not figure out what the problem was. He began to check the blood vessels. Starting from the heart, he checked them one by one. Then, a cycle returned to the heart. One by one, the blood vessels returned to the heart. Just like that, over and over again. Ning Shu really found something strange. There was a strand that seemed to be a hair, but it was even thinner than a hair. It was mixed in the blood vessels. It was undetectable and not easy to detect. It flowed through the body along with the blood flow. Then, it flowed out of the heart and returned to the heart. It was like a black thread. It was very short. What was this? No matter what it was, he had to get it out. Who knew if there was any harm in leaving it in the body? Ning Shu separated a small amount of spiritual energy to force this black thread-like thing out of the body. However, this thing seemed to have sensed danger and swam around in the blood in Ning Shu's body. Convinced, what the hell was this? A chase was carried out in Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu separated more spiritual energy and used it to entangle the black thread. However, the moment the spiritual energy touched the black thread, it dissipated. Ning Shu, oh, he had finally found the culprit. It had to be this thing. What was it? How do I get him out and bleed him dry? Ning Shu tried to use the law of water, using the water in his blood to set up a barrier to trap the black silk. The water in the blood set up a barrier. The barrier was very small and trapped He-Si inside. However, the barrier was quickly destroyed by He-Si. Then, He-Si fled inside the body and didn't come out. This made Ning Shu speechless. Ning Shu closed his eyes and sensed the blood in his body. Since blood was water, he should be able to sense it. After discovering the direction of the black thread, he used a barrier to trap the black thread. He used a thick barrier to trap it and directly pierced his arm, causing blood to flow out. The black substance that was wrapped in the barrier flowed out along with the blood. Ning Shu quickly took out a bottle and put it in. He wanted to ask what it was when he returned. A tiny black strand swam in the bottle. Ning Shu put the bottle away and ate an immortal pill to replenish his vitality. Speaking of which, these bottles of immortal pills were given to him by the Peony Fairy. Ning Shu sighed in his heart. However, he cultivated even faster. During this period of time, his body was in a state of not being able to make ends meet. Now that he didn't have the black thread, when he cultivated, all the spiritual qi was stored in his dantian. It wouldn't disappear for no reason. Ning Shu put away the bottle. Not only that, she also added an extra layer of enchantment to prevent herself from accidentally breaking the bottle. The black color then drilled into her body. Although the spiritual qi was not as good as the divine realm, with a spirit gathering array, the spiritual qi was still good. Moreover, he was in the deep mountains and forests. The spiritual qi was enough for Ning Shu to cultivate. After cultivating in the mountains, Ning Shu didn't know how long. When he opened his eyes again, he felt that his body was full of energy. He suddenly felt fearless and full of confidence. GG. The monkey outside brought food to Ning Shu. With the monkey as an example, some monsters in the mountains also imitated the monkey and sent things to Ning Shu. Some of the things placed outside the barrier were already rotten. During this period of time, Ning Shu didn't eat anything. He didn't need to eat anything. Ning Shu called the monkey in. The monkey's black eyes turned. Feeling Ning Shu's powerful aura, it immediately knelt down and made a comical bow to Ning Shu. I want to leave here. You don't have to send things anymore. Ning Shu thought about it and went to the Devil Realm to find the Peony Fairy. He just didn't know how she was now. Her mission had been completed. Her life was saved. He just didn't know how the immortal emperor felt about the Peony Fairy. In fact, love wasn't that important. When the divine realm no longer existed, there was no such thing as a humble mentality. The surviving gods could only hide in the mortal world. They also had to constantly be watched by the heavenly Tao. A sorrowful expression appeared on the monkey's furry face upon hearing that Ning Shu was going to leave. He was extremely reluctant to part with immortal pills. The mountain spirits had a strange obsession with the immortal pills of the divine realm. They had heard too much about how one could ascend to immortality and ascend to the divine realm after consuming the immortal pills. In any case, it was an obsession. Ning Shu just wanted to say that the people of the divine realm didn't need to cultivate. They just needed to consume immortal pills every day. These immortal pills could replenish vital energy for the gods and immortals of the divine realm, but they were a lot more effective for normal people. However, they definitely couldn't become an immortal just by consuming them. Ziwei divined this direction. A male voice sounded from outside. Ning Shu found this voice to be very familiar. It couldn't be Emperor Qing Hua, could it? The little monkey also heard the voice and turned toward Ning Shu. Ning Shu waved his hand and gestured for him to leave. Don't get too close to this place. The little monkey wouldn't be able to handle the shockwaves from their battle. The little monkey obediently ran out of the cave. Emperor Qinghua and Emperor Changxing didn't pay much attention to the fleeing monkey. It was just an ant that was passing by. Ning Shu tidied herself up and washed herself with water. After making sure that she looked radiant, she walked out of the cave. She looked up at the two great emperors and greeted them with a smile. "Long time no see." Emperor Qinghua chuckled. "Weed, how did it feel to jump off the Immortals viewing platform? It must have been quite uncomfortable, right?" Ning Shu also chuckled. "It was very satisfying. It's a pity that you didn't jump off the platform. Otherwise, you would have experienced a different kind of satisfaction." Ning Shu could sense from their auras that they hadn't come from the Immortals viewing platform. Instead, they had come to the mortal world through some other passageway. Ning Shu looked at the two emperors with an expression that said, "You're the one who got the short end of the stick." "So stubborn," Emperor Qinghua said with a disdainful expression, thinking that Ning Shu was just putting on a brave front. Chapter 2393. Emperor Qinghua and Ning Shu were bickering with one another, but Emperor Changxing couldn't find the peony fairy anywhere. He turned to Ning Shu with a cold expression. "Where's the peony fairy?" Ning Shu splayed his hands open. "I don't know. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Some things needed time to ferment. Where is she? Where is the peony fairy?" Emperor Qinghua asked. Ning Shu gave an honest reply. "I jumped down with the peony fairy in my arms, but she was swept away by the wind. I don't know where she was swept away to." "Really?" Emperor Qinghua's brows furrowed. Disbelief was written all over his face. "I can swear to the heavens that the peony fairy really was swept away by the wind and we were separated. Otherwise, please let my soul dissipate." Ning Shu was telling the truth. He wasn't afraid of swearing at all. Emperor Qinghua's chest constricted. "Your swearing is like a fart to me. I have to be elegant," Ning Shu replied. Emperor Changxing's expression was as cold as ice. He scanned the entire mountain range with his divine sense, but he couldn't find any trace of the peony fairy, nor could he detect her aura. If the peony fairy had stayed in a place for a long time, then there would be a fragrant scent lingering around that place. If the peony fairy really was with the grass, then that scent wouldn't have dissipated. Emperor Changxing spoke in a cold voice. "Do you know how much trouble you've caused? Everything that's happened to the divine realm is all because of you." Ning Shu pursed his lips. "That's enough. The divine realm should have faced this tribulation, but you're blaming everything on me? Then why don't you think about why the divine realm has to face this tribulation?" Ning Shu rolled her eyes. "No matter how you look at me, I'm like a weed. You're just putting all these hats on my head." Emperor Qinghua turned to Emperor Changxing. "Looks like she really isn't here. Then where did the peony fairy go?" Emperor Changxing nodded. "Let's look in the human world again. If we can't find her, then we'll go to the demon realm." When Emperor Changxing mentioned the demon realm, he stared at Ning Shu, but Ning Shu just smiled and didn't say anything. The longevity immortal emperor's gaze was like an icy blade, so sharp that it was hard to maintain a straight face. "Look at me. I don't know where she went either." Emperor Qinghua looked at Ning Shu with a cold smile. "Then take this wheat back and whip him. He'll open his mouth one day." Emperor Changxing said casually. She was not important. The most important thing was to find the lost peony fairy. This location had been divined by Emperor Ziwei. Emperor Ziwei had suffered a backlash from his divination, and it took him a long time to find this location. No wonder he could divine it because the peony fairy wasn't here. If the peony fairy was here, he wouldn't be able to see the mysteries of heaven. Who the hell would want to know the whereabouts of a stalk of grass? Damn it. Ning Shu floated into the air and stood on the tip of a tree before facing Emperor Qinghua. "Are you sure you want to take me back and whip me?" Emperor Qinghua asked upon seeing Ning Shu float into the air. "You haven't become immortal?" "Ning Shu, I feel like I've become stronger." Ning Shu rolled up his sleeves and looked at Emperor Changxing. "How about we have a battle? I'll show you what I'm capable of." Emperor Changxing, "You're bluffing, Qinghua." This meant that he wanted Qinghua to fight him. Qinghua was a little hesitant. It was one thing to lose face the first time, but what if he lost face again? Emperor Qinghua wasn't going to attack regardless of whether he was bluffing or not. In order to make up for your mistake, you have to come with us to find the Peony Fairy. Otherwise, you'll never be able to return to the divine realm. Emperor Qinghua raised his chin with a haughty expression. Ning Shu was a little surprised. Why would I go back to the divine realm? The human world is so much better. He could find a mountain and become the king of the mountain. It would feel great to have a bunch of mountain spirits as his underlings. Why would he go back to serve others? There was nothing in this world that was as comfortable as freedom. The divine realm was perhaps a good place, but Ning Shu didn't really care about it. Qinghua chuckled coldly. Keep pretending. Do you want the two of us to drag you away, or do you want to come with us? Emperor Chongqing asked coldly. I like it when you guys drag me away. Ning Shu spoke with a grin. He had wanted to fight Emperor Chongqing for a long time. After all, Ning Shu still remembered the 3 bolts of divine lightning. He had to go with these two. They were going to find the Peony Fairy, and Ning Shu also wanted to go. However, he couldn't just be a servant who served them tea. There was nothing that couldn't be resolved with a battle. If that didn't work, then he would just have to fight again. You're a fairy of the immortal palace, but you're trying to rebel just because you have some power. Ning Shu looked at Longevity Immortal Emperor in surprise. Didn't you become immortal emperors with your own strength? You have the strength to become immortal emperors. Why must I be a little fairy at your beck and call? If you want to fight, then I'll grant you your wish. Emperor Chongqing attacked Ning Shu first, and a powerful pressure surged toward Ning Shu. Ning Shu's expression remained unchanged as he received the attack. The two of them exchanged blows, and the shockwaves from their battle uprooted all of the trees around them. One crater after another was smashed into the ground by the shockwaves. The little monkey nearby was trembling with fear as he hugged the branch of the tree tightly to prevent himself from being swept away. So, these are gods? What a powerful force. Emperor Qinghua's brows furrowed as he looked on from the sidelines. This weed had jumped off the Immortals' viewing platform and was fine. All of the Immortals who jumped off the Immortals' viewing platform would become powerless mortals without any exception, and they wouldn't be able to live for long. The Immortals' viewing platform was a forbidden place for Immortals. Why did this weed still have power? This didn't make any fucking sense. Emperor Qinghua wanted to capture it and whip its soul, but it was a little difficult to do that. Should he tie it up with an immortal binding rope? Ning Shu and Emperor Chongqing's battle was still raging, and it was becoming more and more intense. The surrounding forest was about to be razed to the ground. Emperor Qinghua had no choice but to mediate between the two of them. Why didn't anyone intervene when he was fighting Emperor Chongqing? All right, stop fighting. Chongqing, you can take care of this unimportant person at any time. The most important thing now is to find Peony. Find Peony, stop fighting, Emperor Qinghua said in a feeble voice. Emperor Chongqing harumphed coldly and stopped. Ning Shu also stopped. Ning Shu estimated Emperor Chongqing's power and found that he was at least 10% more powerful than Emperor Qinghua. As for Emperor Dongdo and Emperor Ziwei, they had never fought before, so there was no way to compare them. Emperor Chongqing remained silent with a cold expression. Emperor Qinghua could only say, "You have to come with us. This is your fault." "I can come with you, but I definitely won't admit that this is my fault. This is the will of the heavens," Ning Shu retorted. Chapter 2394. The three of them worked together to search for the Peony Fairy. Emperor Ziwei had suffered a backlash from divining the whereabouts of the Peony Fairy, and the Peony Fairy had been concealed from the heavens, so no one knew where she was. Ning Shu was the only one who knew where she was, and he was extremely frustrated. However, he felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction at the sight of the two emperors. Thankfully, the three of them were all immortals, so traveling was a piece of cake for them. They arrived at a place in no time and began to search for the Peony Fairy. They smelled her unique fragrance and sensed her aura. All of the immortals had different auras. They sniffed around like dogs every time they arrived at a place, and it was quite a perverted sight. Along the way, Emperor Qinghua kept staring at Ning Shu. Ning Shu gave him a sideways glance. "What are you looking at?" "Emperor Qinghua, What's wrong with looking at you? Ning Shu, why don't you keep looking? Emperor Qinghua, I'll keep looking. Usually, this kind of conversation was meant to be a fight. Ning Shu flicked his sleeves with a grin. You want to know why I haven't become immortal, right? Emperor Qinghua gave him a sideways glance, and even Emperor Changxing glanced at Ning Shu. The Immortals viewing platform was the tomb of all immortals. Without exception, all of the immortals who had jumped off the Immortals viewing platform had died. Why was this weed still intact? Could it be that there was something special about it? Ning Shu, I'm not going to tell you. Also, don't mess with me, or I'll let you have a taste of what it's like to jump off the Immortals viewing platform. Ning Shu thought of the black strands in the vial. Even though he didn't know what they were indeed wearing away at the energy within her body. If he were to use them on either of these two, they would definitely die from exhaustion. However, Ning Shu was more interested in what they were. What kind of chemical reaction would occur if he were to toss them into the law of nothingness? Hence, Ning Shu felt like it would be a waste to use them on these two. It would be better to just knock them out and toss them off the Immortals viewing platform. It took him a lot of effort to get it out of his body. Emperor Qinghua looked at Ning Shu as if he were looking at a scumbag. Ning Shu chuckled lightly and completely ignored Emperor Qinghua. Go ahead and fight me if you can. Emperor Qinghua chuckled coldly and ignored Ning Shu. Emperor Changxing was a man of few words, so he was definitely not going to take the initiative to ask questions. If Ning Shu were to take the initiative to ask, then it would be more appropriate. He probably felt that talking to Ning Shu was beneath him. He spent a lot of time, more than a year in the mortal world, but he still couldn't find the Peony Fairy. Even if he was an immortal, he would still be disgraced by such torment. Emperor Changxing frowned and said, if it's not in the human world, then it's in the demon world. The devil realm, this is the situation that we don't want to see the most. Emperor Qinghua looked at Ning Shu with a resigned expression. Why do I feel like you know that the Peony Fairy is in the demon world? Ning Shu, you're overthinking things. Even Emperor Ziwei couldn't divine where the Peony Fairy was, so how would I know? Emperor Qinghua spoke with certainty. My intuition tells me that you're hiding something from us. Ning Shu, when did our hearts connect? You can still feel that there's something in my heart? You're still joking around in a moment of life and death? You're an immortal as well, shouldn't you do something for the divine realm that you were born in? Emperor Qinghua glowered at Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately replied, all right, the Peony Fairy is in the demon world. Then why didn't you say so earlier? Emperor Qinghua chuckled coldly. She's not in the human world anyway. If she's not in the demon world, then why would she be in the divine realm? Ning Shu countered. Emperor Qinghua panted heavily as he glared at Ning Shu with the urge to beat him up. Emperor Changxing dragged the enraged Emperor Qinghua back. Let's go to the demon world and find her. Emperor Qinghua immediately calmed down, but his brows furrowed upon hearing this. I really don't want to go to that place. It's so uncomfortable. Ning Shu didn't have any objections. In any case, she could just follow along. After arriving at the demon world, they could go straight to the Demon Lord's palace to find the Peony Fairy. The Demon Lord was the supreme ruler of the demon world, and there were many demonic women who wanted to become his women. Hence, the Peony Fairy was a complete idiot when it came to scheming. Emperor Changxing led the two of them to a mountain range. There was a cave within the mountain range that was sealed with talismans. A sinister aura emanated from within the cave, and it was filled with the stench of blood and gore. It felt as if one were to pry open the rock, black and red blood would flow out from within. Emperor Changxing opened the talismans, and an extremely sinister aura swept toward them. Ning Shu felt as if his entire body had been contaminated by this aura. Emperor Qinghua's brows furrowed. Only a place like the demon world should disappear. It was far too disgusting. Hurry up and come in. Emperor Changxing led the way in, and he immediately spoke upon seeing Ning Shu and Emperor Qinghua still standing at the entrance. Emperor Qinghua hesitated momentarily before going in. You're not allowed to plot against me. I'm not that kind of person. If I want to beat you up, I'll beat you up fair and square, Ning Shu replied. Emperor Qinghua felt like Xianyi was the most detestable of all celestial maidens. Ning Shu went in as well. Emperor Changsheng blocked the stone and pasted talismans on it. He even pasted a few more talismans on it. If the human world was contaminated by demonic energy, then the divine realm would also be contaminated. The passageway was very narrow, and Emperor Changsheng led the way. Emperor Qinghua followed behind, and Ning Shu brought up the rear. Ning Shu had been feeling quite uncomfortable ever since he entered the passageway. He was surrounded by demonic energy instead of spiritual energy. Perhaps it was because he was a plant that he was more sensitive to his surroundings. After walking for a long while, Ning Shu coughed lightly. When will we reach the demon world? The passageway was very quiet, so Ning Shu's sudden outburst was a little frightening. Emperor Qinghua's heart constricted slightly. Why are you being so loud? I'm being very quiet. I just want to know when we'll reach the demon world. Ning Shu felt as if Emperor Qinghua was about to explode at any moment. Where was his self-restraint? He had lived for so many years. After walking for an indeterminate amount of time, the demonic energy became more and more abundant. They finally exited the passageway. Ning Shu looked around at the demon world. The entire demon world was a dark red hue, and there seemed to be a red sun in the sky. However, the light it radiated was a dark red color, which made the demon world appear even more sinister and terrifying. It was a very oppressive place. There were all sorts of strange things growing on the black soil, as well as some strange insects. The divine realm was filled with countless auspicious signs, but the demon world was the complete opposite. Chapter 2395. Ning Shu was content to be their little tail. As for where they were going, that was up to the two of them to decide. Ning Shu obviously wasn't going to say that he was going to the Demon Lord Palace to find Fairy Peony. Emperor Qinghua stroked his chin as he looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu replied calmly, "Don't look at me with those perverted eyes. Where do you think Fairy Peony would be?" "You two grew up in the same place," Emperor Qinghua asked Ning Shu. "Ning Shu, just because I grew up in the same place doesn't mean I should know where she is." What kind of logic was that? Emperor Changsheng paused for a moment before replying, "Let's go to the Demon Lord Palace." Emperor Changsheng glanced at Ning Shu as he spoke. "Ning Shu, why are you two staring at me?" Thus, Ning Shu and the others discovered that they couldn't fly in the demon realm. Were they going to have to walk on 2 pairs of feet? This place was so desolate, so it had to be very far away from the palace. Emperor Qinghua pulled out his flying magic tool, only to discover that the dense demonic qi in the air would corrode the magic tool. Emperor Qinghua's brows furrowed. The demon realm really is a detestable place. Ning Shu laughed heartily before releasing a golden dragon. He leaped onto the golden dragon's head and looked down at the two of them from above. "I'm going to go now. You two have to follow me." "You're going to run away first?" Emperor Qinghua was dumbstruck. How could he be so cold, heartless, and unreasonable? Emperor Changsheng's face had already turned into a square block of ice. Ning Shu said, "If you want to, sure. But you'll have to pay for the ride." Emperor Qinghua looked at Ning Shu with a disdainful expression. Ning Shu's face was so thick that even a laser couldn't penetrate it. Emperor Qinghua's gaze was completely ineffective on Ning Shu. 2 outer heavenly stones per person. Ning Shu extended a hand with a smile. "Emperor Qinghua, we can go now." "Then you guys can go." Ning Shu said without a care, "I'm leaving first." Ning Shu laughed heartily. Emperor Changsheng looked at Ning Shu expressionlessly, took out 2 outer space stones, and threw them to Ning Shu. Ning Shu hurriedly took the stone and put it away with a smile. He patted the golden dragon and said, "You can come up now." "What about you? Are you coming up or walking?" Ning Shu turned to Emperor Qinghua. "This place is so desolate. Do you know where the Demon Lord's palace is?" Emperor Qinghua reluctantly pulled out 2 stones and stuffed them into Ning Shu's hands before sitting down on the golden dragon's back. Ning Shu was grinning from ear to ear. "Sit tight. Let's go." "By the way, which way is the palace?" Ning Shu stood on the giant dragon's head and turned to ask the two of them. "Emperor Qinghua, Give me back those 2 stones and I'll tell you. That doesn't matter. I'm not in a hurry to find Fairy Peony, so let's sit here and play. However, the longer we drag this out, the more my spiritual energy will be polluted. Look, the golden dragon's color has dimmed. Once all the spiritual energy has been polluted, none of us will be able to leave. Emperor Qinghua. You're the greediest female immortal I've ever seen. How did someone like you ascend to immortality? That way. Emperor Changsheng pointed in an east-west direction. Ning Shu immediately headed in that direction. The golden dragon flew through the dark clouds, and the closer they got to the palace, the denser the demonic qi became. Devilish beings were naturally imbued with demonic qi, and there were many beings from the demon realm gathered around the palace, so the demonic qi was extremely dense. The palace was very luxurious. It was a massive city with black walls, and it was quite a spectacular sight to behold. Ning Shu looked down at the dim golden dragon to find that even the spiritual energy had been polluted by demonic qi. He sped up toward the most luxurious palace at the center of the city. Ning Shu yelled, "Peony, I'm Lu Yi, I'm here to find you." Ning Shu's qi sank into his dantian. His voice was extremely loud, spreading throughout the entire palace. Emperor Changsheng, Emperor Qinghua, what the fuck? Was this guy retarded? The 3 of them had barged into someone else's territory, and he was yelling so loudly. Was he afraid that no one would know that they were here? Emperor Qinghua's expression was wooden. He felt like this weed was a weirdo from the divine realm. Was it because of his lowly origins? This didn't seem like the style of beings from the divine realm at all. At the very least, he should have made an impression so that others would discover him instead of yelling like this. Following Ning Shu's yell, all of the demon generals and soldiers in the palace began to gather like ants as they stared up at the golden dragon in the sky. It's beings from the divine realm. What are they doing here? These guards of the palace were wearing close-fitting clothes that looked like leather wallets. Below them was a leather skirt that exposed their arms and held spears in their hands. They looked similar to humans, but these people from the devil realm had black horns on their heads and black lips. It was as if they were wearing heavy makeup. If the immortal realm walked the path of floating immortals and drinking dewdrops, then the devil realm walked the path of demonic charm and wildness. Pumph! A loud, cold snort was heard, and then a man with long hair floated up. He was wearing a long black robe embroidered with golden silk. He was very handsome, and his rhombus-shaped jet-black lips gave him an evil charm. Changsheng, Qinghua, what are you 2 doing in my territory? The demon master glared at the 2 of them. As for Ning Shu, he was the driver. Changsheng pursed his lips. Emperor Qinghua replied, "I'm here to look for someone. Someone from the divine realm has come here." Hee, beings from the divine realm can't survive here. Qinghua, have you been kicked in the head by a donkey? I'll let you off the hook this time. Piss off, or I'll take a stroll around the divine realm. The demon master was very displeased that these 2 emperors had come here. And they were going to take Peony away? Dream on. Emperor Qinghua almost choked on his own rage. Fuck, he always spoke nicely to people, but these 2 were all shooting daggers at him. Who the hell had he offended? Emperor Changsheng stood on the golden dragon's back with a cold expression. You're here to look for someone. Peony is in your hands, right? She's Fairy Peony, a being from the divine realm, so she should return to the 2 divine realms. The demon master pulled out a chair and sat down in midair. He propped his face up with his hand and sat down on the chair, exuding a devilish aura. Who knows how many celestial maidens there are in the divine realm? 2 emperors are here to look for a single celestial maiden. Could it be that there's something special about this celestial maiden? Besides, don't come to the demon realm every time you lose something, the demon master said calmly. Even if there are many celestial maidens in the divine realm, they should be in the divine realm. Are you trying to steal a celestial maiden from the divine realm? Emperor Changsheng glowered at the demon master. She's just a celestial maiden. I can take over the entire divine realm if I want. The demon master didn't deny the fact that Fairy Peony was here. Chapter 2396. The demon lord admitted that she was here, but he didn't say that he would send her back. Greenery. The peony fairy was helped out of the palace by two curvy witches. When she saw Ning Shu on the golden dragon, she immediately waved and shouted. The demon lord, who had been leisurely, saw the peony fairy come out of the palace. He immediately stood up and shouted at the two witches who were supporting the peony fairy, "Who allowed you to take her out? You're courting death." The two witches immediately knelt down and kept begging for mercy. The cleavage in front of their chests was spectacular. Moreover, the witches were wearing clothes that exposed their midriffs. Their figures were hot. This fairy asked us to take her out. Yes, demon lord, if you don't believe me, you can ask the fairy. The demon lord sneered, "Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. You want her to leave, right? I said that as long as she serves in the palace, you're not allowed to bully her." The two witches knelt on the ground and trembled. They kept begging for mercy and kept saying that the fairy asked them to do it. But the demon lord didn't forgive the witches. The more they explained, the angrier the demon lord became. Stupid. The last thing he wanted was to let the two immortals see the peony fairy. Damn it. The demon lord directly squeezed the two witches' heads in the air. The three people on the golden dragon looked on indifferently. The two great emperors were expressionless. The demon lord killed their own people. It was none of their business. The peony fairy was shocked. Her face was pale. The demon lord looked a little angry. He hurriedly let the guards drag the corpse down and feed it to the demonic insects. Don't be afraid. I know what these people are thinking. They just saw that someone from the immortal realm came, so they brought you out to let the people from the immortal realm take you away. After killing people, the demon lord changed his face quickly. He was murderous before, but now he was gentle and infatuated. The peony fairy looked at Ning Shu on the golden dragon. Greenery. Ning Shu jumped down from the golden dragon. He ignored the demon lord's steel-like eyes and walked to the front of the peony fairy. He looked her up and down. Are you okay? The peony fairy smiled. It was so bright that the dark immortal realm seemed to brighten up. Seeing the peony fairy's smile, the devil lord glared at Ning Shu even more fiercely. I thought we would never meet again. I landed in the demon realm. Where did you land? The peony fairy began to chat with Ning Shu, completely ignoring the surrounding environment and atmosphere. Ning Shu said, I landed in the human world. The peony fairy smiled. That's great. The tall and strong demon lord stood between Ning Shu and the peony fairy, blocking their conversation. The peony fairy said to the devil lord, Can you step aside? You are blocking the green. The devil master's expression instantly looked like it was going to destroy the heavens and exterminate the earth. Ning Shu moved to the side, tilted his body, and said to Peony behind the devil master, Do you want to return to the god realm with us? The peony fairy said without thinking, Demon master? The devil lord's expression changed from destructive to hopeless. He looked at the peony fairy in shock. Didn't you say you wanted to stay here? Yes, the green, I want to stay here, the peony fairy said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu just smiled. In terms of the shadow in his heart, the devil lord was definitely much bigger. The eternal emperor said to the peony fairy, You are an immortal. The demonic energy here will pollute the power of immortals. Moreover, you jumped down from the immortals' viewing platform. Your body will decay faster. You will die soon. What do you mean? The devil lord frowned. The power in your body is dissipating? The peony fairy nodded. Yes, very uncomfortable. The eternal emperor was still stabbing. In the future, the peony fairy will become immortal. In a few months or a few years, your body will decay. The devil lord gripped the peony fairy's hand tightly. I won't allow it. I won't allow it. It's all right. The peony fairy heaved a forlorn sigh. This is my fate anyway. Emperor Qinghua didn't care about the peony fairy's life at all. Instead, he felt like it would be better if the peony fairy died like this. Perhaps the prophecy of divine destruction wouldn't come true. It was best if she died. Why do you care if she dies or not? It's even better if she dies. Emperor Qinghua whispered to Emperor Changsheng, If we really do bring her back to the divine realm, The Devil Lord might try to take her away from the divine realm. When that time comes, the prophecy will come true. We can just stay in the demon realm. What does her life have to do with us? Emperor Changxing didn't say anything. He didn't mention bringing the peony fairy back to the divine realm again. However, his brows were still tightly furrowed. In the end, he heaved a silent sigh. If you want this female immortal to stay with you, then she can stay with you in the demon realm, the Devil Lord said to the peony fairy in a gentle voice. The peony fairy immediately asked Ning Shu, "Are you willing to stay in the demon realm?" Ning Shu, "The demon realm will corrode my power and body." The peony fairy immediately said to the Devil Lord, "Then we won't stay in the demon realm." The Devil Lord let loose a muffled groan as he clutched his chest, speechless. Ning Shu was about to die from laughter. This was the peony fairy's personality. It looked like the peony fairy hadn't fallen in love with the Devil Lord yet, but the Devil Lord was already kneeling before her halo. The Devil Lord glared at Ning Shu with his death gaze before speaking to Ning Shu in an extremely reluctant voice. "You're the peony fairy's friend, right? Why don't you stay in the demon realm and accompany her?" Ning Shu was very worried that the Devil Lord was going to twist his head off if he said no. Ning Shu replied, "I'll listen to the peony fairy." The peony fairy was surprised. She had never been the type of person to make decisions. If someone else made the decision, she would just follow. Now that she had to make a decision, she turned to Ning Shu and asked, "Do you want to go back to the divine realm or the demon realm?" "I'll go wherever you go." The peony fairy had unwittingly kicked the ball back to Ning Shu. The Devil Lord glowered at Ning Shu with a cold expression. "Ning Shu, where's your own opinion?" Emperor Qing Hua spoke. Lu Yi, you can stay here and accompany the peony fairy." Ning Shu chuckled coldly. "You'll have to walk when you go back. Without the golden dragons, how long would it take for them to walk back?" "That's all right, we can walk," Emperor Qing Hua replied without any hesitation. Ning Shu immediately understood what these two emperors were trying to do. They wanted the peony fairy to die in the demon realm. Ning Shu stared at Emperor Changxing. Emperor Changxing's attitude was quite surprising to Ning Shu. Was he giving up on the peony fairy for the sake of the divine realm? Emperor Changxing didn't seem to be the type of person who would go berserk in the storyline. Perhaps Emperor Changxing had chosen the peony fairy for the sake of the divine realm. A faint smile appeared on Ning Shu's face. He had just barely completed his mission. "I'll stay in the demon realm with you," Ning Shu said to the peony fairy. The peony fairy faltered slightly before nodding. "All right." The Devil Lord gave Ning Shu a look of approval. "Treat this place as your home from now on." Chapter 2397. Ning Shu didn't take the Demon Lord's polite words to heart. "Hee, you tried to kill me last time." According to Fairy Peony's personality, the Demon Lord was going to try to kill her many times in the future. Ning Shu withdrew the golden dragon and had the two emperors walk back. Without the support of the golden dragon, the two great emperors slowly floated to the ground. Their clothes fluttered in the wind, and they looked like immortals. However, their expressions weren't very good. Ning Shu continued, "If you give me 3 more outer heavenly stones each, I'll take you to the exit of the demon realm. How about that?" Emperor Qing Hua asked with a cold expression. "Why 3? "Because I'll have to come back if I take you there. In the demon realm, the more energy I use, the more energy I expend," Ning Shu replied in a matter-of-fact manner. "That was 2 trips back and forth." "Greedy woman." Emperor Qing Hua spat with hatred. "Are you really going to stay here and not go back to the divine realm? If I go back to the divine realm, you'll want me to serve you tea again. Here, the Demon Lord treats me as an honored guest." Ning Shu replied with a smile. Emperor Qing Hua's brows furrowed. "Don't forget that you're still an immortal. You're at odds with the demon realm. You clearly want me to stay here." Ning Shu pursed his lips. "Do you want to take the golden dragon back? Or do you want someone from the demon realm to take you there? You're both emperors, but you can't fly in the demon realm and have to be taken back by someone from the demon realm. How embarrassing. My golden dragon is of high quality. It'll look great in the sky." Ning Shu was like a salesman trying to solicit customers. What a tacky woman. Qing Hua pulled out 3 outer heavenly stones before tossing them to Ning Shu. Another 3 outer heavenly stones. Ning Shu was ecstatic. If you don't give them to me, then I'll have to take Emperor Qing Hua back. Emperor Changsheng took a deep breath before tossing 2 outer heavenly stones to Ning Shu. I only have 2 on me. Ning Shu's expression immediately turned ugly. Then I won't hook up with you. Emperor Qing Hua could only take out another piece and toss it to Ning Shu. Emperor Qing Hua felt like he was being forced into a corner. Ning Shu looked at Qing Hua from head to toe. This guy must be a tycoon. He used 6 renminbi in total. Ning Shu counted with his fingers. During this period of time, he had obtained 10 stones. In addition to the previous 2 stones, he had already obtained 12 stones. Sure enough, extortion was the fastest way to earn money. He wouldn't have such an opportunity again. Ning Shu very happily released the fire dragon and said to Peony, "Wait for me here. I'll be back soon." The Peony fairy nodded. The 2 emperors got on the dragon's back. The longevity emperor looked back at the Peony fairy. The Peony fairy waved at the 3 people on the dragon. The longevity emperor closed his eyes and turned his head away from her. The return speed was much faster. Ning Shu stood on the golden dragon head and waited for the entrance to the demon world to stop. "See you later." Ning Shu was just about to head back. "Weed, I advise you to leave the demon world as soon as possible. The Peony fairy is going to die sooner or later," Emperor Qing Hua said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at him with a suspicious expression. Emperor Changsheng said in a cold voice, "Let's go, Qing Hua." Emperor Qing Hua immediately entered the passageway. Ning Shu stood on the dragon head and flew back to the royal palace. After returning to the royal palace, he discovered that there was a vast expanse of people waiting for him. The demon master, who had been quite amiable just a moment ago, was now looking at Ning Shu as if he had stolen his wife. The Peony fairy waved at Ning Shu. "Louis, I'm here." "Ning Shu, did I see you?" Ning Shu made his way over to the Peony fairy. The demon master had people lead the Peony fairy and Ning Shu to her bedchamber. The Peony fairy's palace was decorated like a fairyland on earth. As soon as he entered, the courtyard was filled with the sound of birds and the fragrance of flowers. It was filled with colorful flowers, butterflies, and bees. The palace was also decorated in a fairy-like manner, completely according to the layout of the god realm. There were pastries and juicy fruits on the table in the room. The Peony fairy was living very well. "This is my room," the Peony fairy said in a melancholic voice. "The demonic maidens here don't like me, and they don't like the decorations either. They say it's ugly, but I think it's beautiful." Ning Shu abruptly changed the subject. "Can I take a look at your body?" Ning Shu guessed that the Peony fairy's body should be similar to hers. There should be such black silk in her body. The Peony fairy nodded before allowing Ning Shu to inspect her body. Ning Shu unleashed his divine sense, but he didn't inspect the Peony fairy's meridians. Instead, he inspected her blood directly. This thing was hidden within her blood, and it was completely undetectable. Ning Shu was stunned. He looked at the Peony fairy in astonishment. The Peony fairy's blood vessels were filled with such black silk, and it made her blood look dark and dense. Was it because she had been delayed for too long? Or was it because she stayed in the demon realm that these black silk grew? Ning Shu asked, "Can you still release immortal techniques?" The Peony fairy tried to release a clear dust technique, but it didn't work. After several attempts, she shook her head at Ning Shu. "I can't do it." The Peony fairy was very calm. She probably didn't realize that she had no power. "Ning Shu," the Peony fairy pulled Ning Shu aside and told Ning Shu about her experience in the demon realm. For example, the demonic maidens here were very fierce, like fairies, and they beat people at the slightest provocation. Also, the demon master was a good person. She sympathized with the demon master for a second. As she spoke, the Peony fairy was a little tired. She lay down on the chaise lounge and fell asleep with her eyes closed. Immortals shouldn't feel tired, but there were a lot of black silk in the Peony fairy's body. It dissolved her strength and then her vitality. Moreover, this was the demon realm. There was no spiritual energy at all for cultivation. The demon chi would also pollute the immortal body. Under these multiple effects, the peony fairy probably wouldn't live for long. The heavenly Tao was really cold. It gave so much love, but it took it away just like that. After the peony fairy fell asleep, the demon master appeared in the hall. He looked at Ningshu. How is her body? Not good. She can't hold on for long, Ningshu said directly. You can check the blood in her blood vessels. The demon master covered the back of her hand with his hand and carefully sensed for a while. When he opened his eyes, a storm was brewing in his eyes. Didn't you jump down with her? Why are you fine? The demon master stared at Ningshu sharply. I also have something to do. It's just that I was in the mortal world before and could cultivate. I can barely resist it. If you want her to live, you can send her back to the immortal world. There is a lot of spiritual energy there. The power of spiritual energy can barely resist the melting power, but as time goes by, her body will weaken faster and faster. Ningshu explained. There was too much. It wouldn't work even if the blood was drained. I won't send her back to the immortal world. Don't even think about it. The demon master was firm. I will save her. There is nothing I can't do. Ningshu, up to you. Chapter 2398. Ever since they knew that the peony fairy was about to die, the entire palace was in a gloomy atmosphere. That was the pressure from the demon master. All the demons wanted to stuff their heads into their pants. They trembled, not daring to get close to him. The demon master found many demon generals and knowledgeable demons to ask if there was a way to control the immortals' viewing platform's damage to the immortals. Everyone said no, they had never heard of it. Someone even asked if the immortals who jumped down from the immortals' viewing platform would definitely die. The demon master was so angry that he beat up the demon general who spoke and told him not to come again. One of the older demons stroked his beard and looked very wise. He said to the demon master, "King, I know a way." What? The demon master asked in surprise. The demon said, I once read in an ancient book that the god realm has something called the three-flowered nine-leaf grass. This divine item's fruit has the effect of purifying the body and purifying the immortal body. It can also purify the blood and achieve the effect of being reborn. That fairy's immortal body has a problem, but if you try this thing, it might be effective. The old demon said unhurriedly. Good, I'll go to the god realm to pick the three-flowered nine-leaf grass fruit. The demon master immediately wanted to go to the god realm. Wait. The old demon hurriedly stopped the demon master. What else? The three-flowered nine-leaves grass is a heaven-defying divine item that is guarded by 4 great emperors of the god world. Moreover, it has accompanying divine beasts protecting it. It will not be easy for the devil lord to obtain the divine fruit of the three-flowered nine-leaves grass. The demon master slapped the table. If I had known, I wouldn't have let the 2 great emperors go. If I killed them directly, the chances of getting the fruit would be much higher. No matter what, I have to go to the god realm. He wasn't afraid of difficulties, he was afraid of not having a way. And even if he went to the god realm to ask for a fruit, the 4 great emperors would give him face. The demon master's mood immediately improved. He rewarded the old demon with many good things and then went to the peony fairy's palace. He just couldn't stand the pretentious people of the god realm. They occupied such a good place, but when he saw the peony fairy's palace, such a beautiful place, it should be worthy of a suitable master. The demon master somewhat yearned to live in a beautiful place with the peony fairy. The demon master had no confidence in his place. The god realm was too ugly. He didn't have any confidence in front of the peony fairy. It was as if the people of the heavenly realm were driving a Porsche while the devil lord was driving a QQ car. They were on completely different levels. The peony fairy was talking to Ningshu. When the devil lord came here and saw this scene, he was very annoyed. He disliked this female immortal who came out of nowhere. Peony, I have found a way. The devil master made a solemn vow to Peony. Don't worry, no matter how difficult it is, I will save you. The fairy peony fairy Ningshu? What solution have you found? The Devil Lord looked at the Peony Fairy deeply and then left the room. The Peony Fairy, Fairy. Ning Shu shrugged and spread out her hands. Fairies, why the gods? Why don't we ask? The Peony Fairy asked. Ning Shu nodded. When the Peony Fairy wanted to see the Demon Master, she was told that the Demon Master had left for the God Realm. Ning Shu, why did he go to the God Realm? Did the God Realm have something that could save the Peony Fairy? If there was something that could eliminate the power of the Immortals viewing platform, it wouldn't be feared by so many gods. Was the Demon Master tricked by someone? Ning Shu shook his head. It was all a trick. The Peony Fairy was even more confused. Why did he go to the God Realm? Ning Shu went through many difficult inquiries and found out that these devils were very hostile towards the gods of the God Realm. When Ning Shu asked, these devils all ignored her. Ning Shu had no choice but to use hypnosis on the devil cultivator and obtain some trivial information. Probably because he wasn't proficient in hypnosis, the demons either woke up quickly or struggled to wake up during the hypnosis. This skill was rubbish. Ning Shu hypnotized these demons for two reasons. One was to get information, and the other was to practice his hypnosis. When he was more proficient, Ning Shu went to hypnotize the demons with higher status. The Peony Fairy looked at Ning Shu silently. She stood aside without saying a word. After Ning Shu left, she followed behind her. Finally, they got more complete information from a demon. Ning Shu wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and looked at the Peony Fairy. Ning Shu asked, "How do you feel?" "He's a good person. He's very good to me. He's not a god, but he's not bad," the Peony Fairy said. "Ning Shu, aren't you worried that he'll be hurt?" The Peony Fairy's buff was invisible. "You love me, but I don't feel it." The Peony Fairy frowned. "He'll be hurt." "Ning Shu. He went to the heavenly realm to steal something. I've never heard of the 3 flowers and 9 leaves grass. It should be some secret treasure. He'll definitely have a conflict with the heavenly realm. One side wanted something, and the other side didn't give it. These two sides would have a conflict." He felt familiar with the routine of the heavenly realm. The Peony Fairy frowned gloomily. "Why did he do that?" "I don't want you to die." Ning Shu's shoulders drooped. "I like you very much. Who would do that to a stranger on the side of the road?" The Peony Fairy didn't seem to feel the impending death. Ning Shu couldn't help but ask, "Aren't you afraid?" "Afraid of what?" the Peony Fairy asked back. "I'm afraid of death." Ning Shu was very afraid of death. She was terrified. The Peony Fairy looked confused. "I don't know." It seemed that the Peony Fairy didn't fall in love with the Devil Lord during this time, but the Devil Lord was deeply in love with her. Did the Peony Fairy really not like people? Or did she not understand what love was? Ning Shu and the Peony Fairy waited for the Devil Lord to come back. The Peony Fairy was a little anxious. She kept asking Ning Shu, "When will he come back?" "I don't know. Don't worry. He'll be fine. He won't die," Ning Shu said calmly. Ning Shu speculated according to the heavenly realm. If it was not unexpected, the Devil Lord would definitely not get the fruit of the 3 flowers and 7 leaves grass. According to the routine of the heavenly realm, this 3 flowers and 7 leaves grass was of vital importance to the 4 great emperors. They would definitely not hand it over. What a terrible routine. Anyway, these two sides would fight. The Devil Lord would not die. If he died, the Devil Realm would be leaderless. No one would lead the demons of the Devil Realm to fight against the heavenly realm. Such a calculation, Ning Shu felt that this plane should be a super plane. The power of the plot was very strong and could not be changed. Chapter 2399. The stronger the plane, the stronger the heavenly Tao. It was very difficult to reverse the heavenly Tao. It was very difficult to do so in this kind of world. Just the power of reversing the heavenly Tao was very tiring. Moreover, the heavenly Tao could mobilize any creature in the world as a chess piece to deal with the existence that violated the heavenly Tao. Ning Shu rubbed her face. She had been calculated. After all, she had jumped off the Immortals viewing platform with the Peony Fairy in her arms. The Peony Fairy needed something from the Immortals viewing platform. The Demon Master came back with injuries. He sat on the couch. Blood dripped from his black clothes to the ground. It was like acid dripping on the ground. The peony fairy immediately asked with concern, "Are you okay? Don't go to the immortal's world." The demon master's face was gloomy. When he saw the peony fairy, he softened a little. "It's okay. It's just a little injury. It will be fine after a while. I won't let anything happen to you. Actually, I'm fine. I don't need to go to the immortal's world. I feel that my body is fine," the peony fairy said carelessly. The demon master touched the peony fairy's head. "I won't let anything happen to you." The demon master repeated these words over and over again. The peony fairy looked at Ning Shu blankly. She had already said that she didn't need to go. Why did he insist on going? "Don't go. You'll get hurt," the peony fairy said. The demon master smiled. He looked happy and asked in surprise, "Are you worried about me?" "Yes, I'm very worried," the peony fairy said without thinking. He was going to steal something from the immortal's world for her. Of course she was worried. "Don't worry. No one in this world can do anything to me." The demon master smiled like a fool. Ning Shu couldn't bear to watch. The peony fairy said again and again that he didn't need to go, but the demon master said, "Don't worry." In the end, the peony fairy gave up talking. She returned to the palace and asked doubtfully, "Why is he doing this?" Ning Shu was basically sure that the peony fairy didn't have any feelings. Men were dying for her, but she didn't feel it. She couldn't feel it. She felt sad for those men. Ning Shu only said, "He likes to play like that. Just let him be. It's good if he can really get his things back." It was basically impossible. The demon master recuperated for a period of time and went to the divine realm to steal the divine fruit. However, when he came back, he was still injured. Moreover, his injuries were very serious this time. He was half dead. The moment he came back, he went into seclusion to cultivate and recuperate. Alright, he went to the immortal realm again. He was reluctant to part with the immortal realm. He gave the devil master a thumbs up for his perseverance. Love makes people brave. But this time, when the devil lord returned, only a trace of his soul had floated back. His physical body was gone. After that, the entire demon realm was infuriated. What was the immortal realm trying to do? Wasn't it just asking for something? Besides, the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass had 3 fruits. What was wrong with giving one? The demonic chi cultivators were existences that were on par with the deities. How could they not give him face? The peony fairy was scared out of her wits. She told the demon lord not to go. Even his physical body was destroyed. The demon master still said, "Don't worry, everything will be fine." Then he jumped into the demon pool and condensed his body. He reckoned that the divine realm had gone through a great battle and the devil master was beaten until only his soul was left. Then, the situation in the divine realm shouldn't be too good. The demon lord took a long time to condense his physical body. During this time, the peony fairy's physical condition was getting worse and worse. She became weak and could only lie on the soft couch and sleep. The demon lord condensed his physical body. Seeing the peony fairy's weak state, he decided not to wait. If he waited any longer, the peony fairy would die. So, he hurriedly counted his soldiers and went out to attack the divine realm. The demonic chi cultivators were warlike. Men and women were brave and good at fighting. When they heard that they were going to attack the beautiful divine realm, they all shouted excitedly. They raised their weapons and shouted that they would kill all the deities and occupy the divine realm. They ate delicious fruits and lived in beautiful houses. The demon lord led the demonic chi cultivators out of the demon realm and attacked the divine realm. The war had begun. Ning Shu said to the peony fairy, "Let's go and have a look." The peony fairy nodded. "Okay." Ning Shu. He was really helpless. Because the vitality in her body was fading, the peony fairy gradually began to have white hair. But even with white hair, the peony fairy was still very beautiful. No, to be precise, she was even more beautiful. It was a kind of sad beauty of sunset, blooming at the most beautiful time of her life. Her beauty was unparalleled. She dazzled people who saw her. Ning Shu sometimes stared at the peony fairy's face in a daze. He couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. Ning Shu asked the wise old man of the demon realm where the entrance to the divine realm was. Since the deities knew the entrance to the demon realm, then the demons should also know the entrance to the divine realm. After getting the answer, Ning Shu released the golden dragon and took the peony fairy to the exit of the demon realm. Where is it from here? Ning Shu asked the peony fairy. Ning Shu pulled the peony fairy. While groping for the passage, he said, "It's the mortal world." Oh, it's the mortal world. Out of the demon realm, the two suddenly felt a gust of fresh air blowing on their faces. It was too comfortable. It was just ordinary air, but it made the two people living in the demon realm feel very comfortable. Ning Shu blocked the passage to the demon realm and then headed for the entrance to the divine realm. The entrance to the divine realm made Ning Shu feel as if he had passed through the peach blossom spring. It was not easy to enter. The peony fairy was very curious and looked around. The mortal world is similar to the divine realm, but it's not as beautiful as the divine realm. There's also not as much spiritual energy as the divine realm. Ning Shu answered her with "Thinen" and looked for the entrance. Finally, he found a cave. This cave was set up with a barrier. Ordinary people could not enter at all. Since it was a formation, he had to undo the formation. Ning Shu was busy undoing the formation. The peony fairy sat on a stone and looked at Ning Shu with her chin propped up. Every movement of the peony fairy was as beautiful as a painting. Ning Shu undid the formation and broke the barrier. He pulled the peony fairy into the cave. As soon as the two entered the cave, they were transported to the divine realm. The divine realm, which should have been filled with birds and flowers, was now filled with the sound of killing. The ground was covered with blood. There was the blood of the deities and the demons. The demons' blood was full of corrosive. When it was sprinkled on the ground, it corroded the soil. The plants also withered. There were many corpses along the way. The corpses of the deities and demons were riddled with holes. This war was more intense than Ning Shu imagined. The peony fairy's face was pale. She grabbed Ning Shu tightly and looked very scared. Did the demon lord start a war with the divine realm because of this thing? Ning Shu was silent for a moment and said tactfully, "You are only part of the reason. Moreover, the demon realm has always been coveting the divine realm and has always wanted to replace it." The peony fairy made an "oh" sound. She pulled Ning Shu's sleeve and carefully avoided the corpses on the ground. Seeing the female deity's corpse, she said, "She actually died. She used to scold me. I didn't expect her to die." Chapter 2400. Ning Shu stared at the female immortal's corpse. A large hole had appeared in her chest, and golden blood flowed out. Her expression was twisted with horror. Ning Shu averted his gaze and headed toward the main battlefield. The battle in a canyon in the god realm was particularly fierce. All of the immortals in the god realm were gathered here. For emperors were guarding the canyon, and the demon lord was leading an army of thousands. All kinds of immortal techniques surged, erupting with bright light. Sand and pebbles flew, destroying the beautiful immortal world into a barren land. Ning Shu was lying on her stomach, looking down from the top of the canyon. The peony fairy was lying beside her. She saw the thousands of soldiers and horses trying to wash away the enemy like two tides. During this time, gods and demons died. The peony fairy couldn't bear to watch. She lowered her head and stared at the soil in front of her. The demon lord was fighting four emperors to a standstill? Holy shit, this second demon lord was the strongest? The North Pole Emperor was the first to give up. Because of the backlash from his divination, his body was in the worst condition. Emperor Ziwei's forte lay in divination, followed by tool refinement. In order to save his own life, Emperor Ziwei tossed all types of magic tools toward the Devil Master as if they didn't cost him anything. The self-detonation of the magic tools also inflicted some damage to the Devil Master. The other three emperors each had their own unique skills. They were invincible. The two sides were evenly matched. Whether it was the battle strength of the big shots or the strength of the soldiers, both sides would suffer if they fought. In truth, the god realm was a bit weaker than the demon realm. The bodies of gods were pure and didn't tolerate impurities. If they were contaminated, they wouldn't be able to use 70% of their strength. Moreover, the demons had invaded the god realm. It was the home field of the god realm, but it was a bit difficult for the gods to drive the demons out. The aftermath of the battle almost razed this picturesque canyon to the ground. War was a meat grinder. Ning Shu had seen bigger battles, so he was as calm as still water. The peony fairy couldn't stand it. She pulled Ning Shu away. She didn't want to watch anymore. Ning Shu said, "Lie down here and sleep." Ning Shu set up a barrier to isolate the sounds of the battle. Ning Shu, the peony fairy, smiled dazzlingly. Ning Shu turned his head away, afraid that he would not be able to suppress the jealousy in his heart. Ning Shu hid at the side and observed. He had no intention of joining the battle. He saw the shockwaves from the attacks hitting the divine world's spatial walls and causing a huge impact on the stability of the entire divine world. Perhaps the divine realm would shatter and cease to exist as they fought. Many gods and demons had died because of the war, and the divine world had been destroyed. The heavenly Tao's plan had succeeded. However, Ning Shu still had a doubt in his heart. It didn't matter if the divine realm was broken. After all, the divine realm was filled with abundant spiritual energy. It didn't matter if the spiritual energy flowed into the human world. If this dense spiritual energy flowed into the mortal world, the human world would probably usher in a period of flourishing monsters. As the spiritual energy decreased, it would not be easy for the monsters in the wild to cultivate, and their numbers would decrease. Spiritual qi was beneficial and harmless, but what about the demonic qi of the demonic realm? Demonic qi was a kind of evil power that would cause living beings that came into contact with demonic qi to be demonized and turn into monsters. If devil qi flowed into the human world, it would be a hodgepodge. Moreover, the demon realm was not damaged at all. Could it be that the heavenly Tao allowed the demonic realm to exist? It could tolerate the demonic realm, but not the divine realm? Could it be that the gods had to go to the demonic realm to fight? But the demonic realm was very weak to the gods' power. The gods wouldn't go to the dirty demonic realm. Then how would the heavenly Tao deal with the demonic realm? The battle between the two sides became more and more intense. The demon lord desperately ordered his subordinates to attack. He must get the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass in the canyon. Only the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass could save Peony's life. For the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass, the demon lord fought with his life. On the divine realm's side, the 4 great emperors desperately blocked, not giving the demon lord a chance to get the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass fruit. Ning Shu felt that this 3-flowered 9-leaves grass was definitely a trick of the heavenly Tao. Many gods and demons died in the battle. Black blood and golden blood mixed together. The originally beautiful canyon had been eroded by the blood of the demons into a barren place. The air was filled with demonic qi, which gradually corroded the spiritual energy in the canyon. From the sky to the ground, the aftermath of the battle directly hit the divine realm's spatial wall. The people who were fighting didn't feel it, but Ning Shu clearly felt the entire divine realm shake. If this battle continued for any longer, the divine realm was going to collapse. The peony fairy yawned and really did fall asleep next to him. Her expression was serene and beautiful. It felt like the peony fairy was a little heartless. "Can't you give me one of the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass fruits?" the demon lord asked in an irritated voice. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and his expression was extremely ugly. "If you don't kill everyone in the divine realm, I'll make the divine realm flow with rivers of blood." Do you know how precious the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass is? Emperor Qin Hua harumphed coldly. There were only 3-flowered 9-leaves grass fruits, and none of the 4 great emperors could get a single one. There were only 3 fruits, so one of them was destined to fail. This fruit could allow a god to survive in the face of heavenly tribulation. Gods also had their own tribulations. All kinds of calamities would appear on the god's body, forming black spots that would crawl all over the god's body. At that time, the god would vanish into thin air. Furthermore, they were in the midst of a god-slaying period, so they had to rely on the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass fruits to survive this tribulation. There was also a saying that eating the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass fruits would allow one to transcend the heavenly Tao and be free from the control of the heavenly Tao. This was extremely tempting. The 3-flowered 9-leaves grass bloomed for a very long time, and it took even longer for it to bear fruit. The 4 great emperors had been waiting for the fruits to ripen, and they had all become extremely haggard. Now that the demon realm had suddenly appeared and wanted to take the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass, the 4 great emperors only had one word in their hearts: gun. The demon lord's robes flapped loudly in the wind. If you don't give it to me, I'll take it myself. Not only will I take the divine fruits, but I'll also take the divine realm. What right do you have to take the divine realm for yourselves? Emperor Zui's hand quickly divined, and he let loose a muffled groan as blood seeped from the corner of his lips. He wiped the blood from his lips and said to the demon lord, "If we fight like this, we'll only accelerate our destruction. If the gods are gone, do you think the demons will still exist?" The demon lord, "Then give the 3-flowered 9-leaves fruit to me, and I'll immediately withdraw my troops and never set foot in the divine realm again." The 4 great emperors looked at each other. If they really did give it to the demon lord, then there would be 1 less 3-flowered 9-leaves fruit, and only 2 great emperors would be left. When the heavenly Tao slayed the gods, they wouldn't be able to survive, so they definitely couldn't give it to the demon lord. /BK. Chapter 2401. Are you going to give it to me or not? The demon lord roared. He didn't care about the god realm. Even if he conquered the god realm would end up like the demon realm. The god realm couldn't handle the demonic chi of the demons. He only cared about the 3-flower 9-leaf fruit. Seeing how the 4 emperors treasured the fruit, the chances of saving the peony fairy were much higher. The North Pole Emperor quickly pinched his fingers. He was so fast that he left after Images. He shook his head and said, "I can't give it to you." The demon lord flew into a rage. The peony fairy was still waiting for him in the demon realm. "Then I'll flatten the god realm and kill all the gods." Ning Shu perked up his ears to listen to these people. However, he was far away and couldn't hear much. The battle was very fierce. Gods and demons were dying constantly. Half of the demons brought by the demon lord were dead. There weren't many left. The demon lord was in a difficult position. However, if he retreated like this, it would be very difficult to get the 3-flower 9-leaf fruit. The peony fairy couldn't die. Instead, the devil lord shouted loudly, "Attack! Kill all the gods." From now on, the devil man will be the only god in the world and will be revered by everyone. Even the high and mighty fairies will become our slaves. Kill them all. The demon lord's voice was very bewitching. The demons who heard these words were like they were injected with chicken blood. They roared and killed the gods. The gods' golden blood splattered on their bodies. They laughed crazily and wickedly. The god realm couldn't hold on anymore. They retreated into the canyon. The female immortals were especially flustered when they heard that they would become the slaves of the filthy demons. Chaos broke out in one place. The god realm's army was in chaos. Their attacks were greatly weakened. The devil lord was very excited. The 3-flowered 9-leaves grass was right in front of him. He used extremely bewitching words to motivate his subordinates. The bodies of the devil dwellers began to swell. Their bodies became even bigger, just like the ferocious Hulk. He held a hammer-like weapon in his hand and smashed it at the god. Every time he smashed it, the entire canyon would tremble. If one was unlucky enough to be smashed by the hammer, he would definitely vomit blood and die. The bodies of the gods were actually not as tough as the bodies of the demons. There was a clear difference in the combat power of the two sides. However, the celestial arts of the gods could also cause great damage to the demons. For example, if they worked together to set up a formation, then these demons would run around the formation like idiots and be killed by the power of the formation. Even so, God continued to retreat into the canyon. The situation was not good. Among the 4 great emperors, the oldest one, the great emperor Dongdo, was already injured by the demon lord. The demon lord's attack was very ruthless. He probably hated these gods for destroying his physical body, so he attacked the 4 great emperors without any regard for his life. 1 against 4, he was actually not at a disadvantage. Ning Shu was speechless. The Demon Master's newly condensed body was so awesome. Peony, wake up. Ning Shu nudged the sleeping Peony Fairy. The Peony Fairy opened her eyes. She looked confused, with a lazy and charming temperament. What's wrong? Move over there. Now, a lot of gods had moved into the canyon. It could be said that the Immortals team had been blocked by the demons. Behind them was the canyon. The Peony Fairy stared at the corpses in the canyon in astonishment. She had only slept for a while, but so many gods and demons had died. Blood had dyed the entire canyon. The Peony Fairy pulled Ning Shu's sleeve. Let's go. I don't want to see it. I feel like it's because of me. It's okay. The battle should be over soon. Ning Shu dragged her into the canyon. The tip of his nose smelled of fragrance. This fragrance was not the fragrance of the Peony Fairy's body, but the fragrance of fruits. It was a sweet fragrance. Could it be the fragrance of the 3-flower 9-leaves fruit? The demon world was like a tiger, forcing the immortal world into the canyon. In addition, the immortal world's team was disciplined and did not follow the orders of the demon world. It seemed that the immortal world was on the right track. Aside from a few emperors and a portion of the immortal world's army, most of the immortal world's immortal world was free to do as they pleased. Now that they had been summoned back, it was quite normal that the demon world was going to attack the immortal world. None of the immortal world's immortal world forces had ever worked together before. The closer they got to the canyon, the more pronounced the fragrance of the fruits became. Ning Shu began to salivate. Even the Peony Fairy exclaimed, "Wow, what kind of fruit is this?" Ning Shu lay prone on the ground and looked around. He saw a shimmering rainbow plant. This plant had 9 leaves and 3 bright red fruits hung from its branches. The fruits were around the size of an infant's fist, and there were droplets of spiritual energy dripping down from the fruits. The colors of the fruits were vibrant and alluring, and everyone swallowed involuntarily upon seeing them. The Demon King's eyes lit up at the sight of the 3-flower 9-leaves fruit, and he immediately rushed toward the fruits, only to be held back by the 4 emperors. The fruits haven't even ripened yet. There's no point in plucking them, Emperor Qinghua said loudly. Emperor Qinghua yelled. Even though the fruits were bright red, the ripe 3-flower 9-leaves fruit was green. The other fruits all turned red and yellow after ripening, but the 3-flower 9-leaves fruit was the exact opposite, and it felt like it was defying nature. The Demon King replied nonchalantly, "It's fine if it's not ripe yet. I'll take this plant and find a way to make it mature." Emperor Qinghua was about to explode from rage. Why were all the people he encountered so unreasonable and unreasonable? What was wrong with this generation? How could they be so arrogant when they were robbing others? Kill them. For every god you kill, I'll reward you with a chance to enter the demonic liquid to materialize a more powerful body. For every 100 gods you kill, I'll reward you with a demonic crystal and make you a demon general. The Demon King's roar made the demon tribe even more excited. Meanwhile, the immortal world's momentum was weakening. Victory was about to be decided soon. Ning Shu stared intently at the battlefield while the Peony Fairy's attention was drawn to the 3-flower 9-leaves fruit. She whispered to Ning Shu, "That plant is so beautiful." Ning Shu fell silent. It was clearly a plant that could kill 3 people with 2 peaches, so it could kill 5 people with 3 fruits. Wow, the fruits are starting to turn green. The Peony Fairy covered her mouth in astonishment. Ning Shu looked over to find that the fruits were indeed turning green at a rate discernible to the naked eye. An even more intense fragrance erupted from the fruits, and the entire valley was enshrouded in the sweet aroma of fruits. It felt like it was telling everyone, "I'm ripe, come and eat me." Ning Shu's lips twitched as he wiped the drool from his mouth. This was a familiar taste, a familiar recipe. This was all a ploy. Why couldn't it have ripened when everyone was fighting to the death? /BK. Chapter 2402. Someone announced that the fruit was about to ripen, and the battle between the 2 sides ceased. Everyone held their breaths as they waited for the fruit to ripen. Saliva dripped from their mouths as they waited for the fruit to ripen. Not long after that, the bright red fruit turned into an emerald green fruit with an alluring aroma. Ning Shu sniffed the air and really wanted to try one. It would definitely be very sweet. If he joined the battle, he would be killed by the heavenly Tao on the spot. It would be better for him to just be a spectator. Once the fruit ripened, the 4 emperors who were defending against the demonic army charged toward the fruit almost at the same time in an attempt to snatch it. The demon master faltered slightly upon seeing this. He didn't think that the 4 emperors would be fighting over the fruit, and he immediately joined the fray. Sand and pebbles flew through the air, and the shockwaves from the battle between the 5 of them caused the canyon to tremble violently. The 3-flowered 9-leaf fruit was still swaying slightly from side to side, and it was extremely fragrant. Ning Shu was drooling all over the ground. The peony fairy stared at the fruit with a hand on her chin. It smells so good. Yes, it does. Ning Shu nodded vigorously. The peony fairy turned to Ning Shu. Do you want some? I want some. Let's go pick some, alright? Ning Shu paused momentarily before replying, they're fighting so ferociously. Let's wait for them to run out of energy before we go. The peony fairy nodded. Alright. The battle between the 5 of them was extremely chaotic, and there weren't many immortals left on the battlefield. The sweet scent of the fruit mixed with the pungent odor of blood, and the scene was filled with a sense of madness. Emperor Ziwei said, the 3-flowered 9-leaf fruit will fall off in 4 hours and disappear without a trace. If we keep fighting like this, none of us will be able to get the fruit once the stalk falls off. Ning Shu was a little speechless upon hearing this. Disappear after falling to the ground? Could it be that the ginseng had disappeared after falling to the ground? The demon master harumphed coldly. 4 hours is more than enough for me to kill all of you. Emperor Qinghua, can you shut the fuck up? How can you be so arrogant when you're facing the 4 of us? Ziwei, Changxing, Dong Do, let's take him out first. As for the 3-flower 9-leaf fruit, we'll see who's more powerful. Thus, the 4 great emperors worked together to attack the demon master. It was 4 against 1, and they were locked in a stalemate. The spatial barrier of the immortal realm had suffered so much that it was probably going to break soon. Ning Shu wondered if he should retreat first and leave before the god world was destroyed. Otherwise, he would be annihilated along with the god world. Fu Zi is injured. The peony fairy looked worried. Ning Shu asked, who is Fu Zi? Fiendlord. Fighting 1 against 4 was still a bit of a stretch, but the second demon master felt that he was invincible under the heavens. Gods were nothing. The 4 great emperors wanted the 3-flower 9-leaf fruit, and they were as anxious as demon master. They felt that the danger was getting closer and closer. The 4 great emperors wanted to eat the fruit to avoid the danger. The 2 sides could be said to be fighting to the death. The entire god world was trembling because of the power of the battle, and a large number of demons and gods died on the battlefield below because of the powerful shockwaves. The number of gods and demons was decreasing rapidly. All 5 of them were injured, and they were all heavily injured. The 3-flower 9-leaf fruit was slowly falling off its stalk. Seeing this, the 5 of them were about to go crazy. They attacked each other even more crazily, trying to use the fastest time to defeat each other and snatch the fruit when it fell off its stalk. So nervous. Ning Shu did not directly join the battle, but he could feel the craziness rushing towards him. The gods and demons were like grasping at the last life-saving straw, and they went crazy. Ning Shu pressed down on the peony fairy's head and dodged wave after wave of attacks. The 5 of them stood in the dark. Unknowingly, the light in the god world started to dim. There was no day and night in the god world. It was always bright, with birds chirping and flowers fragrant. But when the light in the god world dimmed, Ning Shu felt that something was wrong. He had to bring the peony fairy and retreat first. Green intent, I don't want to leave. The peony fairy looked at Ning Shu with a calm expression. Fu Zi is risking her life to get the fruit for me. I want to stay here and accompany her. Ning Shu was stunned. You and Fu Zi? Fu Zi is a good person. She has done a lot for me. She had entered the god world again and again. Ning Shu. Wah, the demon master has been given the good person card again. Peony, you are very awesome. Ning Shu raised her head and glanced at the god world. All right, I'll accompany you. Ning Shu wanted to see the final result and see who won. If it was the demon master, he would definitely be hunted down. Whether he could leave the god world would be a problem. If the 4 great emperors won and obtained the fruit, there would be another battle. For people fighting for 3 fruits, and one of them had to die to split it evenly. Greed could not be ruled out. They wanted to take all the fruits for themselves. In short, fight, fight, fight. What a good plan. This battle should be over soon, because the fruit would soon fall off the stalk and disappear. No one could bear the consequences of losing the fruit. Ning Shu held his chin and dozed off. The peony fairy's gaze was always on the demon master Fu Zi. Her gaze followed Fu Zi. Could the peony fairy's destined one be Fu Zi? Speaking of affection, there was no one in the god realm who was willing to risk his life to get something for the peony fairy. Half of the fruit had already fallen off the handle and was about to fall off completely. The demon master gritted his teeth and pounced at the 4 of them. With a plop, he self-detonated his newly condensed demonic body. The huge self-detonation caused the 4 great emperors to lose their ability to fight. One of the great Emperor Dongdo's arms was blown off. Golden blood splattered. Although the other 3 great emperors did not lose an arm or a leg, their bodies were severely injured. They could not even use their immortal arts. The self-detonated demon master turned back into a wisp of soul. His soul was very weak. He floated towards the 3-flowered 9-leaves fruit that was about to fall to the ground and reached out to pick it. But in a split second, a green chopstick-like thing that was nestled under the 3-flowered 9-leaves fruit bit at the demon master's hand. The demon master quickly retracted his hand to avoid being bitten by the little snake. The snake's speed was very fast. It was like a bolt of lightning as it charged towards the 4 great emperors who had not recovered their ability to fight. It probably wanted to bite them to death. Ning Shu, that this should be the 3-flowered 9-leaves fruits accompanying divine beast. It was there to protect the 3-flowered 9-leaves fruit. Previously, these people were fighting until the sky was dark and did not appear. It only appeared when these people were killing each other and had no ability to fight. This meant that this little thing was intelligent. It looked like the green bamboo snake and was definitely poisonous. /BK. Chapter 2403. In order to avoid being bitten by the snake, the 4 great emperors all took out their trump cards. Emperor North Pole even took out a cage to trap the snake. However, there was a cracking sound coming from inside the cage. The little green snake actually gnawed a hole in the cage and came out of the cage. Then, under everyone's stunned eyes, it gnawed the entire cage and swallowed it into its stomach. Its body was as thick as a chopstick, but it was able to swallow such a large cage. Its stomach wasn't even bloated yet. Where did all the food go? Everyone was stunned. The little green snake rushed toward Emperor Dongdo, who had lost an arm. Although he was fighting back, the other 3 great emperors couldn't even protect themselves, so they couldn't help. Little green snake bit Dongdo Emperor. Dongdo Emperor's face began to twist. His eyes widened, his pupils contracted, and he howled in pain. His body began to disappear from where he was bitten. In the end, Dongdo Emperor's entire body turned into sand. Everyone was silent. A great emperor was bitten to death by a little snake. Run! The gods and devils reacted and began to flee. If they didn't run now, they would die. The little green snake was very fast. It turned into a beam of green light and bit down on a devil. The devil struggled, but he was turned into ash and disappeared without a trace. Biting a devil, biting a god, both gods and devils would die. Ning Shu's butthole tightened. He rubbed his eyes and didn't see the souls of the gods and devils. Where were their souls? Were they destroyed? Or were they eaten by the snake? He didn't even see the powerful Emperor Dongdo's soul. It was a terrifying existence. Even in war, there would be gods and devils left behind. In that case, this thing could kill any gods that escaped. In the god world, under the noses of the 4 great emperors, the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass was born. And this half-living creature grew up with the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass. It must have a mission. If the peony fairy was the cause, and the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass was a necessary tool, then this thing was supposed to clean up the battlefield and finish off the survivors. One after another, Ning Shu knelt down in admiration. This little green snake bit quite a number of gods and devils, then yawned and flew back to the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass. It coiled around the plant, and at first glance, no one would be able to tell that there was a snake coiling around the plant. The 3 grass of 3-flowered 9 leaves were about to fall off the stalk and fall to the ground. However, the 3 great emperors and the demon masters didn't dare to take it. They could only watch as the fruit fell from the tree and disappeared without a trace. After paying such a high price for 3 fruits, he could only watch as the fruits fell to the ground. This pain, this helplessness. The demon lord gritted his teeth. He wanted to take the risk and pluck the fruit. However, the demon lord didn't have a body now. He was only a soul. If he was bitten, he would definitely die. If he had a body, he could still resist for a while and abandon his body to preserve his soul. The peony fairy immediately shouted, "Fu Zi, don't go." The peony fairy stood up and ran towards the devil lord. Ning Shu had no choice but to follow her. The peony fairy stood in front of the devil lord, panting. "Don't go. That snake is very powerful." The peony fairy, who was already in the body of a mortal, was panting heavily after running for a while. The devil lord was a little surprised to see the peony fairy. He then turned to Ning Shu. "Why are you here? It's very dangerous here. If he was bitten by that snake, he would die." The peony fairy gave an honest reply. "I've been watching from the sidelines this entire time." Ning Shu rubbed his nose. Wasn't the peony fairy a little too honest? Emperor Qinghua harumphed coldly. "You watched from the sidelines as the demon realm attacked the divine realm, hee. Emperor Qinghua's rage was directed at Ning Shu. Ning Shu gave a shameless reply. "I'm too weak, so I didn't dare to fight." Emperor Qinghua was so enraged by this despicable weed's shamelessness that he couldn't help but burst into laughter. "You sure are humble. You have the nerve to call yourself weak." "I've always been weak." Ning Shu splayed his hands open. Why didn't he mention the peony fairy? This battle was all for the peony fairy. There was still a little bit of the 3-flowered 9-leaf grass fruit that was about to fall off the stalk. The devil lord was in a hurry and threw the peony fairy to the ground. The devil lord hurried over to help her up, but his hand passed through the peony fairy's body. "Don't worry, I'll protect myself. I'll make sure you eat this fruit." The peony fairy immediately said, "I don't want to eat this fruit. Fu Zi, please don't die." The devil lord's expression softened. "Be a good girl. If you eat this fruit, we'll be able to live in the demon realm forever. But that snake is very powerful. Let's go back to the demon realm." The peony fairy's clear eyes were filled with hope. The devil lord immediately agreed, but he still insisted on plucking the fruit. The fruit fell to the ground. The peony fairy was confused. "Didn't you agree?" My king." A demon stumbled over. "The demon realm is gone." The devil lord didn't react for a moment. "What do you mean the demon realm is gone?" "The demon realm is gone. It's gone." I felt the demon realm shake violently. I don't know what happened. I finally got out of the demon realm, but I couldn't find the entrance back to the demon realm. The demon panted. "What did you say?" The devil lord was shocked. How did the demon realm disappear? His nest was gone. Disappeared? The devil lord was shocked and puzzled. How was this possible? If the demon realm disappeared, he would be a soul forever. There would be no demon liquid pool to reform his body. If the demon realm was gone, where would the demons live? The devil lord was dejected. The 3 great emperors looked at each other. They didn't understand how the demon realm disappeared. Did the demon realm break? The devil lord asked. No, if it did, the demon chi would pour into the human world. The demon realm disappeared along with the demons inside. My king disappeared. The devil lord gritted his teeth. Who did it? He turned to the 3 great emperors with a sinister expression. Since the demon realm has disappeared, then the divine realm is the new demon realm. You're just a soul now. Do you think you can conquer the divine realm? You don't have a body to self-detonate again, Emperor Qinghua said coldly. The divine realm will always belong to the gods. Ning Shu was astonished. The demon realm disappeared? Disappeared all of a sudden? Was there someone in this world who was powerful enough to teleport an entire space away? Or was it a mission enforcer who teleported the demon realm away during the war between the two realms? /BK. Chapter 2404. The demons had no place to live, so they would fight for the divine realm. If the divine realm collapsed, everyone would become homeless orphans. Ning Shu scratched his head. How confusing. The three emperors heaved a sigh of relief, but they were also worried that the demons would fight for the divine realm. The fruit was about to fall again. The three emperors were very anxious, but they didn't dare to pick it up. Thus, the three emperors, Chongqing, Qinghua, and Ziwei, all looked at the peony fairy. The peony fairy? Ning Shu looked at the three people's expressions and suddenly had a bad feeling. Ziwei said, "The peony fairy can pick the fruit." Ning Shu, what gave the three emperors the illusion that the peony fairy could pick the fruit? Was it because she was favored by the heavenly Tao? The fiend master immediately said, "You want to kill her, don't you?" "Ziwei, I'll kill you first." Ziwei explained calmly, "The peony fairy is the chosen one, so she'll be fine. I've divined that it's a sure thing. Hee, I won't let the peony fairy take the risk. I'll pick it myself." The fiend master didn't believe that. There was still a 10% chance that something would happen. The fiend master wouldn't let the peony fairy pick the fruit. Was the peony fairy the only one this thing wouldn't bite? How was that possible? The divine realm was gone, and the peony fairy couldn't be gone. The fruit was about to fall to the ground. "I can guarantee that she'll be fine," Ziwei said. The fiend master, "Hee," the peony fairy said, "I'll go pick it." Ning Shu immediately objected. "Peony, you have to think this through. You're immortal now. You've been bitten by a snake, and all the gods and demons have been annihilated. You can't fight it. Even with the protagonist's undying halo, no matter how powerful the halo was, it couldn't stop the peony fairy from seeking death." The peony fairy said, "I won't pick it, but Fu Zi will." "I don't agree," the fiend master said coldly. The devil lord said coldly. He wanted to grab her, but he was a soul. His hand went through the peony fairy's body. The peony fairy walked to the grass of 3 flowers and 9 leaves. She bent down and stretched out her white and slender fingers to pick the fruit. The little green snake, which had been entwining the 3-flower and 9-leaf grass, had woken up. It stood upright and stared at the peony fairy with its vertical pupils. Then it bit the peony fairy's hand at lightning speed. Once again, it wrapped itself around the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass. With its eyes closed, it merged with the color of the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass. The scene was extremely quiet and awkward. The peony fairy raised her hand. There were 2 small teeth holes on her snow-white hand. Then, starting from the small holes, her body began to turn into sand. "That's impossible. My divination can't be wrong. It can't be." The scholarly Emperor Ziwei was on the verge of a mental breakdown. He pinched his fingers repeatedly before throwing up a mouthful of blood. "He's the chosen one. How could he die? That's impossible." Emperor Qinghua's brows furrowed as he looked at the fruit. Only the edges of the fruit were still attached to the stalk, and it was most likely going to fall off soon. The demon lord looked on with incredulity as the peony fairy was reduced to sand. The peony fairy looked down at her own body before turning to Ning Shu. "Green intent, I'm going to die." Ning Shu didn't know what to say. He didn't think that the little snake would attack the peony fairy. Where was her immortal halo? "Fu Zi, don't pick the fruit." The peony fairy's body completely disappeared as she spoke. The demon lord was very calm, as if he was in a daze. He then turned to look at the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass and chuckled lightly. "Didn't you tell me that nothing would happen to the peony fairy?" The demon lord looked at the self-doubting Emperor Ziwei. "How could my divination fail? Could it be that she's not the chosen one? I only want this fruit for the peony fairy. Seeing as the peony fairy is no longer here, I'm going to destroy this thing. Don't even think about getting the 3-flowered 9-leaves grass. Don't think I don't know that you're trying to get the fruit. You're telling me that the peony fairy won't die. The demon lord said calmly. A powerful demonic aura erupted from his body, as if he was going to perish together with them. Wait. Emperor Ziwei quickly pinched his fingers and said to the demon lord, the peony fairy isn't dead yet. Ning Shu glanced at the demon lord. The demon lord paused and turned to ask, what do you mean? The peony fairy's body is gone, but her soul is still here. She'll definitely reincarnate, Emperor Ziwei said. The demon lord heaved a sigh of relief. He gritted his teeth and said, I'll wait until the peony fairy reincarnates. If you dare to lie to me, I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Ning Shu. In an instant he imagined a relationship between his past life and this life. Moreover, it was a relationship between his soul and a human girl. The demon realm was gone, and the demon master could no longer condense a body. The others were annihilated and their souls were gone, but the peony fairy's soul was still here. There was no black hole to enter the world of reincarnation, which meant that the heavenly Tao had taken away the peony fairy's soul. The peony fairy reincarnated. According to the fetters of everyone present, they would be together after she reincarnated. This was the scheme of the heavenly Tao. If the gods and demons present hadn't died and hadn't been killed by the little green snake, the peony fairy would still be entangled with them in her next life. Moreover, there was something special about her that attracted the remaining gods and demons. Maybe it was some great supplement to her constitution. If the gods and demons ate it, they would immediately change. They would become walking cakes. The gods and demons fought each other again, fighting for a chance to survive. Ning Shu's expression was numb. What did the gods and demons do to make the heavenly Tao so ruthless? The scene fell silent again. It was also very awkward. The fruit finally fell to the ground. As soon as it fell, it immediately disappeared. Everyone could only watch as Ning Shu carefully extended his vine under the plant and caught the fruit. He didn't dare to make a sound. Ning Shu stared at the little green snake coiled around the plant. The little green snake didn't wake up, but the fruit still disappeared when it fell on Ning Shu's vine. It disappeared as if it had fallen into the soil. Ning Shu carefully put away the vine. If she couldn't eat it, then so be it. If she ate it, she would be targeted by the heavenly Tao and be schemed against. She wouldn't be schemed against by the heavenly Tao for a fruit. He couldn't take advantage of it. Moreover, Ning Shu seriously suspected that the fruit's effect was exaggerated. Maybe there was no pure immortal body at all. Also, it might be fake that it could save the peony fairy's life. It didn't intend to let people eat it. The 3 fruits fell to the ground and disappeared. The demon lord laughed sarcastically. Serves you right. The 3 great emperors didn't look very good. For 3 fruits, the divine realm was different from the divine realm. But they didn't get a single fruit. It was like drawing water with a bamboo basket. How would they survive the next divine tribulation? Chapter 2405. From this day forth, the divine realm is mine, the demon master announced. Emperor Qinghua. Emperor Ziwei's expression was ashen. He had been struck by the heavenly Tao's backlash and had fallen into self-doubt, causing his cultivation base to weaken significantly. The divine realm belongs to the gods, you stray dog. You don't even have a place of your own, so you're trying to steal someone else's place. Emperor Ziwei's voice was filled with disgust toward the demon master. If it weren't for him, things wouldn't have progressed to this stage. Stray dog? I'm going to turn you all into stray dogs right now. I still haven't avenged Peony's death. Since Peony has gone to reincarnate, I'll make you all reincarnate as well. A powerful demonic aura erupted from the demon master's body, polluting the spiritual energy and air around him. Emperor Qinghua's expression was cold. Fuzi, don't be so arrogant, you. Emperor Qinghua didn't even get a chance to finish his sentence before the entire divine realm began to rumble. The earth quaked and the mountains tremored as a series of fissures appeared beneath their feet. These fissures grew larger and larger until the entire canyon was split in half. Ning Shu hurriedly flew into the air and saw countless cracks appearing on the ground all over the divine realm. Furthermore, the cracks were still spreading at an extremely fast rate. A thought flashed through Ning Shu's mind. The divine realm is about to collapse. What? The three emperors and the demon master were all extremely shocked. The demon master wanted to take the divine realm for himself. Why was the divine realm about to collapse? But I didn't, and you're going to lose it too. It's also very satisfying. Everyone is going to become stray dogs. The demon master roared with laughter. Ning Shu, what the fuck are you laughing about? Ever since Peony's death, Demon Master Fu Zi's mental state has become a bit abnormal. The little green snake that was wrapped around the 3-flower 9-leaf grass suddenly disappeared with a flash of green light. It had probably fled for its life. Ning Shu hurriedly ran toward the passageway to the divine realm. He had to leave before the divine realm collapsed. The cracks in the divine realm were spreading at an extremely fast rate. Once the entire space was filled with cracks, it would explode with a loud boom. From then on, there would be no more divine realm in this world. Ning Shu ran and ran, he felt his body uncontrollably floating. Aside from Ning Shu, several other immortals were floating into the air. Ning Shu struggled with all his might, but he was unable to break free from this invisible force. Fuck, where was she being taken to? Emperor Qinghua immediately yelled at the sight of Ning Shu floating up into the clouds, but Ning Shu disappeared in a flash. Let's go. Emperor Changsheng dragged Emperor Qinghua away. Emperor Qinghua had no choice but to turn and head toward the passageway to the God world. Hopefully, the passageway to the God realm had not been destroyed yet. The ground of the God realm was filled with huge ravines. Some gods couldn't dodge in time and fell into the deep crevices, never to get up again. Ning Shu floated to a place with a few immortals, including High God Tianyuan, who was also a mission enforcer. When he saw the job, Ning Shu let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that only mission enforcers would be arrogant. At the very least, leaving the God realm, which was on the verge of destruction, was a good thing. Ning Shu and the other immortals floated to a cloud. From here, they could see the cracked God realm growing on the plain wall like a huge mushroom. The black-robed Grand Elder slashed the God realm with a sword condensed from a black hole. The God realm trembled, and more cracks appeared on its surface. In an instant, the cracks covered the entire God realm. Grand Elder raised the black sword and slashed again. The God realm couldn't bear the weight and shattered. A huge gust of air rushed out, and countless spatial walls of the God realm exploded. Grand Elder reached out and collected the shattered spatial walls, so that they wouldn't cause any damage to the plane. It didn't matter if a few pieces were lost. When Ning Shu saw him appear, he knew that he had probably moved the demon realm away. The demon realm couldn't be destroyed. Once it was destroyed, demonic chi would rush into the human world. The God realm was filled with spirit energy, so it wouldn't cause any harm to the human world. After experiencing this unforeseen event, it was unknown how many fiend gods would survive. Even if they did, they would have to face the cleansing of the heavenly Tao again. Where are the stones you collected? Grand Elder asked Ning Shu and the others as the sword in his hand turned into a black hole and disappeared. Ning Shu covered her pocket reflexively. She had to hand over the stones that she had obtained with great difficulty. No, she didn't feel good. High God Sky Origin and the other mission enforcers all handed over their stones. There were at least a dozen of them. Ning Shu took out 10 stones. I got these. Grand Elder looked at the stones. Ning Shu said calmly, these are all the stones I got. She had collected these stones for the law of nothingness. The others seemed to have come to collect stones on purpose. She looked like she had entered this world randomly. One of the female immortals said, the stones fell in the God realm and were broken. Some of them have been used by the people of the God realm and made into Dharma artifacts. These are the rest. Ning Shu was extremely calm. Handing over 10 stones was a lot. She kept 2 to hold on to the law of nothingness. Otherwise, the law of nothingness would devour her world of peerless martial arts. She hoped that he hadn't noticed. Grand Elder frowned. That's all. The gap can't be filled. The connection between the planes was about to break. There were many planes connecting this plane. Once it broke, all the planes behind it would be hopeless. Ning Shu was silent, and she was silent again. All right, all of you can leave this world. The Grand Elder disappeared in a flash. At least they had saved 2 stones. The organization would definitely have some in stock. This kind of stone was like the cement used to build a house. It connected and fixed bricks to each other, and in this way connected one plane to another. The weight of the God realm and the demon realm was probably too great for the entire plane to bear. It might fall off soon. The heavenly Tao had taken action to destroy the divine world and the devil world. However, the divine world and the devil world were too powerful. Once they came to the human world, ordinary humans could be killed by a finger or a breath of air in front of the divine world and the devil world. The difference in strength was too great. What could they do? They would destroy the God realm and the demon realm. That way, even if the God realm split open, the human world would be peaceful. Sky Origin High God asked Ning Shu, "Is the peony fairy really dead?" Ning Shu looked at him in horror. "You still like her? Since she was dead, the buff should have disappeared." Ha! One of the female immortals couldn't help but sneer, showing her disdain for Sky Origin High God. Sky Origin High God touched his nose awkwardly. "She left a deep impression. I won't forget it in a short time. Even if she's injured, she won't recover in a short time." Ning Shu only said that she was dead. There wasn't even a corpse. Ning Shu, who had secretly kept 2 stones, felt guilty. He said goodbye to the mission enforcers. "All right, I have something to do. I'll leave first." Chapter 2406. The mission enforcers didn't care much about Ning Shu. Ning Shu said goodbye and quickly left. He flew to the human world and found a place to land. When his feet touched the ground, his heart started to beat uncontrollably. Damn, he finally dodged a bullet. Before this, he was overjoyed to find so many stones and felt that he could last for a few more centuries. Now there were only 2 left. What should he do? He was so desperate. While the plane was healing itself, if it was too serious, he needed someone to help him remove the unnecessary things in his body like an operation. Even if the plane healed itself, it might not be satisfactory. For things like connecting the planes, the plane itself couldn't do anything. At this time, he needed the help of a doctor. However, the mission of this mission enforcer should be completed. At this time, it would be too boring if the man he liked another woman. Even if the other party was really in love, there was nothing he could do. Ning Shu patted the dust on his body. After the divine world exploded, the spiritual energy rushed to the human world. The spiritual energy in the human world suddenly became much more abundant. Ning Shu used an immortal technique. There was still power. However, once he used the immortal technique, Ning Shu felt as if there was a pair of emotionless eyes staring at him from the sky. Ning Shu had an epiphany. That meant that when a god came to the human world, he had to use the power of the divine world as little as possible. Otherwise, he would be targeted by the heavenly Tao. Well, he could live an ordinary life in the human world. He didn't even look old. It was simply too good. Ning Shu planned to walk around this world and see if there was any world origin. It would be good if he could get some star stones. He didn't know if the 3 emperors still had any left. He could rob them. Maybe the 3 of them were already dead, but his intuition might not be. When Ning Shu was traveling around the human world, he met a newborn baby in a small country. This baby had a strange fragrance on him, but people thought it was ominous. Because on the day this baby was born, the small country was destroyed. Ning Shu saw a wooden basin floating in the river. There was a baby in the basin. Ning Shu pulled the wooden basin over and opened the baby's clothes. He saw a peony on the baby's collarbone. Ning Shu was speechless. "Isn't your reincarnation a little too fast?" Ning Shu looked up at the sky and accepted his fate as he picked up the child. Being a wet nurse was better than being destroyed by the heavenly Tao. Ning Shu hugged the child and suddenly felt that the fragrance was pungent. He had just felt that his nose had been refreshed for a while, and now he had to smell the horrible fragrance every day. Why did he have to change the fragrance? It's here. This is where I performed my divination. Emperor Ziwei appeared in front of Ning Shu with a head full of white hair. Emperor Ziwei's hair had been completely white before. Apart from Emperor Ziwei, there was also Qing Hua and Chang Sheng. There was no demon master. Where was the devil master? Killed by 3 people? Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Weed, you're actually still alive. As expected, you've lived a long life. Qing Hua raised her eyebrows and said in surprise, "You're here to find the reincarnated fairy peony, right?" Here. Ning Shu shoved the baby into Emperor Qing Hua's hands. Suddenly, a soft child was stuffed into her arms. Qing Hua was a little flustered as she hugged the child. Her whole body was stiff. Ning Shu chuckled. "Don't fall in love with little peony. Otherwise, you'll all be lollicons." He wondered if the reincarnated fairy peony still had such a strong UFF that all the men she interacted with would fall in love with her. Ning Shu clicked his tongue as he looked at the 3 old guys before turning to look at the baby. What a bunch of animals. Perhaps it was because the baby in Emperor Qing Hua's arms was uncomfortable that it began to wail at the top of its lungs. Emperor Qing Hua was extremely distressed, and he tried to shove the baby into Ning Shu's hands. However, Ning Shu took a step back and clasped his hands behind his back, refusing to accept the baby. Emperor Qing Hua then shoved the baby into Emperor Ziwei's hands. Emperor Ziwei remained expressionless. Emperor Qing Hua then shoved the baby into Emperor Chang Sheng's hands. Emperor Chang Sheng took the baby and began to coax it. Ning Shu's lips twitched at the sight of Emperor Chang Sheng's actions. Emperor Chang Sheng probably liked little peony. After going around in a circle, he felt that he had fallen into a strange cycle. Falling in love with the baby he had raised again. This was a pleasant surprise. Ning Shu felt like the Heavenly Tao was plotting something again, and Emperor Ziwei had divined something to stop the Heavenly Tao's plot again. Why did he say again? Ning Shu asked, "Where's the Devil Master?" "He's gone. We only discovered that he had disappeared after we escaped from the Divine Realm. We don't know where he went," Emperor Qing Hua replied. Ning Shu's brows furrowed. Could it be that the Devil Master was dead? That wasn't very likely. How could the Devil Master be dead? What if he wasn't dead? Ning Shu stroked his chin and narrowed his eyes as he stared at the crying baby. A bold thought occurred to him. Perhaps the Devil Master had been taken away by the Heavenly Tao just like Little Peony and had been reincarnated. Perhaps the Devil Master and Little Peony would meet and fall in love, but the stubborn old bastards who had raised her wouldn't allow it. The reincarnated Devil Master would then go on a killing spree. In any case, this wouldn't be the first time he had done something like this. There was also that little azure snake. He didn't know how it was doing. Perhaps it had escaped and was still going to kill the living gods. Ning Shu. How despairing. He was living in a trap every day. Sometimes, the more he fought against the Heavenly Tao, the faster he would perish. She had just felt like she had regained her freedom, but she had become a pawn in the blink of an eye. This definitely wasn't a good thing. Is the child hungry? Is that why she's crying? Emperor Chang Sheng asked with furrowed brows. The 3 men all turned their gazes toward Ning Shu's chest. Ning Shu immediately warned, "If you keep looking, I'm going to stab your eyes blind. Perhaps she's pissing and pooping. Take a look." Ning Shu wanted to leave. He didn't want to get involved in this. "She's just a little girl. How do we look at her? Can you help us?" Emperor Qin Hua immediately stopped Ning Shu from running away. "What's wrong with that? As long as you maintain the pure thoughts of an elder towards a junior, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. If you treat her as your own daughter, you won't have so many scruples," Ning Shu said righteously. She didn't want to raise a child. Furthermore, she had to deal with these 3 emperors. These 3 were definitely under the surveillance of the Heavenly Tao. The last one was Emperor Chang Sheng, whom she liked. Furthermore, she didn't know if Fairy Peony was still a stepmother who could enchant men and turn women into vicious women. If she still had such a buff, then Emperor Chang Sheng would probably want to strangle the child to death every single second. Ning Shu really was scared of children now. The last mission was to raise a child. After arriving in this world, she thought that she was going to raise a child. She refused. You can't leave. You picked up this child, Emperor Qinghua said. Chapter 2407. Then give the child back to me. I'm taking her with me. Ning Shu didn't want to stay with these three. No. Emperor Ziwei shook his head. You can't take the child with you, and you can't leave either. Wasn't this a scam? It was too unreasonable. But don't forget that the divine realm no longer exists, and you're no longer immortals and emperors. Are you still going to treat me like a slave? Ning Shu chuckled coldly. You know what you're doing, but some things are futile. Ning Shu looked at Emperor Ziwei's head of white hair. Sometimes, being able to foresee the future is not necessarily a good thing. Perhaps the emperor had divined something, but the events in the divine realm were a bloody example. Emperor Ziwei's face was as pale as a sheet of white hair, and he pursed his lips in silence. Emperor Qinghua continued, You can't leave. If you leave, this child won't be able to live. If worse comes to worst, we can just find a good family for her. Why do we have to keep her with us? She was already like that in her past life, so why don't we just let her be a normal child in this life? We don't have to be monitored by the heavenly Tao either. They were like extremely eye-catching lighthouses in the night. The three emperors and the reincarnated peony appeared to be the female lead. Just from her scent alone, I can tell that she's going to be a beauty. How could someone like her be a normal person? If she were to be placed in a normal family, she would only bring disaster upon them. Emperor Qinghua looked at Ning Shu as if he were looking at an idiot. Ning Shu looked at him with an even more idiotic expression. Can't you cast a spell technique to mask your scent and change your appearance? Emperor Qinghua. Emperor Changxing was still trying to comfort the crying child, and he turned to Ning Shu. We have no choice but to take this child with us. Ning Shu, what does that have to do with me? The child's throat is hoarse from crying. Take a look. Emperor Ziwei was having a hard time dealing with this demonic voice. Ning Shu looked at Emperor Qinghua. You still have some outer heaven stones, right? Emperor Qinghua shook his head. No, I don't even have one. May the heavens strike me with lightning if I lie. It seemed like all the stones in the divine world had been plundered, except for those stones that were used to make magic tools. Ning Shu glared at Emperor Ziwei. Do you know how many good things you've just ruined? All magic tools that were imbued with outer heavenly stones were refined by Emperor Ziwei. Without the outsky stone, I won't help. Ning Shu shrugged. Emperor Qinghua stared at Ning Shu with a dumbstruck expression. Seriously? Weren't you on very good terms with Fairy Peony? Now that she's asking for your help, you're trying to turn her down? Ning Shu said, I'm still on good terms with the Peony Fairy. This reincarnated one is already a different person from the Peony Fairy. Let's take a look at the child first. He's going to break down if he keeps crying like this, Emperor Changxing said helplessly. Ning Shu opened the baby's swaddling clothes, and a foul smell wafted out. Ning Shu covered the baby with the swaddling clothes. He pooped. Why are you covering him? Hurry up and change. Qinghua urged. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and carried the baby to the river. He removed the swaddling clothes and placed the baby on his lap before scooping up some water to wash the baby's dirty bottom and feces. Wash the swaddling clothes, Ning Shu said to the longevity immortal emperor. She wanted to see him wash diapers. Emperor Changxing pursed his lips and didn't move. Ning Shu continued, You're going to take care of the baby, but you're not going to do anything for me, are you? Then I'll take the baby with me and find a new family. I don't owe you anything. If you three want to live like immortals while I raise the baby, then keep dreaming. Go wash the swaddling clothes. Emperor Qinghua was dumbstruck by Ning Shu's shrewdness, and he nudged Emperor Changxing. Don't be so tense. What are we going to do if she really leaves? Emperor Changxing took a deep breath before finally making his way to the river. He tossed the swaddling clothes into the water, only for the swaddling clothes to float away. Emperor Changxing finally couldn't hold it in any longer. He ran into the water to scoop up the swaddling clothes and wash the dirt off them. Ning Shu said to Emperor Qinghua, Take off some clothes and wrap the baby up. All right. Emperor Qinghua immediately took off his jacket. Ning Shu wrapped the baby up and coaxed her into a comfortable hug. The baby was so comfortable that she didn't cry anymore. He felt like this little baby was quite lucky to have been raised by 3 emperors of the divine realm. However, there had to be some other reason for raising her. Ning Shu shoved the baby into Qinghua's hands. Qinghua's expression was ashen. "Why are you giving this to me? I'm tired of carrying her around. Aren't you tired of washing the baby?" Ning Shu shrugged. Emperor Chongqing picked up the swaddling clothes and asked, "What do we do now?" "Blow-dry it with your mouth," Ning Shu replied. "Fucking retard. Let's go to a town and buy some things. We'll find a place to settle down," Emperor Ziwei said calmly. The baby in Emperor Qinghua's arms suddenly began to cry again, and Chongqing almost threw the baby out of his arms. "She's probably hungry. Do you have anything to eat? Like immortal peaches or something? You can squeeze some juice for her," Ning Shu suggested. Emperor Qinghua hurriedly brought out some peaches for the baby to suck on. At the very least, she wouldn't cry anymore. There was a lot of juice in the immortal peaches, and the baby stopped crying after sucking on them. The 4 of them traveled to the nearest town to buy some things for the baby. They then entered a store, only to find that they had no money. Everything in the human world cost money. The 3 men all stared at Ning Shu. "Ning Shu, fucking trash." Ning Shu pulled out some ginseng. This ginseng had fallen into the human world and was given to him by a ginseng spirit in order to obtain an immortal pill. Ning Shu took the ginseng to the medicine hall and exchanged it for a few banknotes. He then went to the bank to exchange it for some silver coins. The 3 large pieces of trash trailed behind him. Gods didn't need to eat. Even their clothes were clean all year round, so they didn't know that life in the human world was so troublesome. Furthermore, gods generally disdained to come to the human world, let alone 3 mighty figures from the divine realm. They had only come to the human world to find Fairy Peony, so they hadn't lived in the human world before. Ning Shu used the money to buy a lot of things, most of which were for the baby. Emperor Ziwei and Emperor Chongqing both had their hands full of things. Ning Shu placed the large amount of banknotes into the baby's swaddling clothes before waving at the 3 of them. "Goodbye." Then she disappeared in a flash, leaving behind the 3 men, who were carrying their things and carrying their children in the wind. She still had to find the essence of this world. If the person who asked her to come back and was willing to raise the baby with her, then she would naturally go back. As for how frantic the 3 men were in taking care of the baby, that had nothing to do with her. They wanted to enslave her? In their dreams. Chapter 2409. He had to give some time to develop the plot. Looking at it now, he could only see 3 fools taking care of a child. What was the point? After absorbing 70% of the soul power, Ning Shu added his attribute points. Although she was the mastermind behind the deaths of so many god fiends in that world, there was still merit. It was really hard to explain. It felt like it was no longer a plane, but a plane connected to that plane. If the connection was broken, then the plane behind it would be separated from the sea of law. Who knew how many planes there were? Name: Ning Shu. Age: 27. Rank: Super Mission Taker. Points card: 259 plus 18, 10 million points per card. Soul: 22 plus 2 life, 18 plus 2 wisdom, 22 plus 2 luck, 24 plus 2 charm, 17 plus 2 mental power, 25 plus 2 martial power, 23 plus 2 aptitude, 23 plus 2 faith, 603927 plus 12600 merit, 276,199 plus 3,000 plus 50,000 soul strength, 95 plus 4 authority ticket, plus 1 pure heart, none law comprehended, water law incarnation, wood law incarnation, constructed world, suspected to be the world of reincarnation items, calm halo, tranquil pill, faith halo, amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles, goddess of war, selfless. Ancestor skills: 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate fighting technique, intermediate level poison technique, beginner level business management knowledge, beginner level code programming, beginner level lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner level cooking skill, intermediate level embroidery skill, trash hypnosis halo, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chen Shi's blessing, leader halo, grass blessing, lifelong friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing, healer, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing, founding lady, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty-in-law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, cross-race communication, Bai San Yang's blessing, brave heart, Wang Ying's blessing, bloodthirsty tyrant, Ni Bingyan's blessing, ding. System notification, 50,000 merit points, 1 privilege ticket. When Ning Shu heard the notification, he opened it and saw that it was Mei Ziqing returning the money. He clicked to accept it. Another 50,000 merit points. One could imagine how Mei Ziqing had to live a frugal life to earn so many merit points. Completing a mission would only earn him 3,000 merit points. She had even returned the access ticket to her. It seemed like Mei Ziqing was working hard. Ning Shu sent a message to Mei Ziqing, but Mei Ziqing's system informed him that Mei Ziqing was currently on a mission. Now, whenever she looked for Mei Ziqing was basically doing missions. Was Mei Ziqing on steroids? Ning Shu asked Mei Ziqing's system if there were any traces of Xiaohua. Now that the war was over, the judges should have had time to bring Pan Qin back. He wondered how Xiaohua was doing and what happened to the stones on his body. After being told that there was no news, Xiaohua never came back. There was no news. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. Could it have been swallowed by Pan Qin? Or it had been taken away to do evil? Pan Qin was not affected by karma, but Xiaohua was different. He might have been killed by someone. If these two stones were good friends, then at least Xiaohua was safe. There was no news at all. The biggest possibility was that something had happened. There were so many planes. It was not easy to find him. Her stones were conflicted. Moreover, Mei Ziqing had borrowed money from her to buy Xiaohua. Now that Xiaohua was gone, Mei Ziqing had lost both her and her money. She pitied Mei Ziqing, who had no money and was worried about Xiaohua every day. Those who should come back would eventually come back. Some people would never appear again. Ning Shu took a star stone and entered the world of peerless martial arts. Looking at the vast lake-like law of nothingness, she felt that it had become bigger. It was definitely not her imagination. Ning Shu tossed the star stone into the law of nothingness with a loud thud, causing layers of ripples to appear. He hoped that she could last longer and find a way to solve this law of nothingness. Although the silver-haired man said that the chances of her solving the law of nothingness were small, it was not absolute. She would find a way eventually. It was just that she did not have the ability now. As long as she had enough time, she would definitely be able to solve it. Facing the law of nothingness, she was a little frightened. She still went to mine and understand the law of space. The sea of stars in the Nine Palace Mountain was waiting for her. After leaving the ultimate martial arts world, Ning Shu was conflicted as usual. Should she go to the Nine Palace Mountain or the City of Space? Well, compared to understanding the law of space, mining was obviously much more interesting. Then she would go mining. She happily entered the black hole and ran into the Nine Palace Mountain. When she reached the plaza, she saw Pai Lupi's servant running over. He had a long face. Ning Shu Feiyang's heart dropped to the ground with a thump. It was obvious that something was wrong. What is it? Ning Shu asked Li Si. Madam, you have to save the young master. Something has happened to him. Li Si was almost in tears. He looked like the sky was falling. Was he beaten up? Pai Lupi's business should be doing well. It was very possible that someone wanted to rob him. No, something happened to the young master's cultivation. I think he went berserk. Li Si said anxiously. I couldn't find anyone else. I could only wait here for madam. Ning Shu, how did you get the term madam? Ning Shu nodded. Then I'll go take a look. How did he go berserk? Could it be that he was uncontrollably absorbing the soul energy in the soul stone? Okay. Li Si quickly brought Ning Shu to the small courtyard. Along the way, Ning Shu asked Li Si, did the Li family come looking for trouble? They did a few times. Especially when they saw that the young master took out so many high-quality treasures. They wanted the young master to give them to the family, but the young master beat them all away. Later, they saw that the young master was strong, so they didn't dare to come looking for trouble. Now the main family wants the young master to go back. They say that the young master is a descendant of the Li family. Li Si pursed his lips. Even a servant like him could see the reason for this. Wasn't it because they wanted the treasures in the young master's hands? Ning Shu clicked his tongue. The Li family was really thick-skinned. As they spoke, they arrived at the entrance of the small courtyard. Li Si opened the door for Ning Shu and respectfully welcomed her in. Ning Shu looked at Li Si. He felt that the Pai Lupi was really lucky to have such a loyal servant who would stay by his side no matter what happened. He would stand in front of him no matter what happened. Ning Shu gave him a bottle of spirit liquid. Cultivate well. Although she said that a wise man submits to circumstances, loyalty was something that everyone admired and wanted. Li Si was flattered and took it. Thank you, madam. Please take a look at the young master. Ning Shu went to the room where the Pai Lupi was cultivating. Outside the door, she saw wisps of imperceptible black gas coming out. Ning Shu. Chapter 24:10. Ning Shu opened the door and saw Pai Lupi sitting on the bed with his head lowered. When he heard someone come in, he raised his head. Young master, how are you? Li Si asked Pai Lupi. The second young master rubbed his forehead. Not too good. Pai Lupi's expression was cold. He was probably in pain. His expression was hideous and terrifying. His eyes were red, and there was a faint black aura around him. He looked like an evil spirit. This was qi deviation. He was probably going to spontaneously combust. How did you end up like this? Ning Shu kept a distance from Pai Lupi. He didn't want to touch the black smoke around him. Pai Lupi rubbed his forehead with a pained expression. I probably absorbed too many soul stones. Ning Shu was speechless. Soul stones weren't pure. Ning Shu never dared to touch them. Pai Lupi seemed to be desperately absorbing them. After absorbing too much, his soul couldn't take it anymore. Finally, there was a problem. The impurities had to be filtered by the soul before it could be strengthened again. Right now, Pai Lupi's soul was stronger than Ning Shu's. One could imagine how many soul stones he had absorbed. It would be strange if there were no problems. Other than absorbing soul stones? Looking at the other soul cultivators, he didn't see such a situation. Pai Lupi kept rubbing his forehead in frustration. He felt that his head was buzzing. It was as if there were many people whispering in his head. His ears were ringing. Pai Lupi's situation could be diagnosed as mental illness in modern times. He was hallucinating. I've only absorbed good quality soul stones. Second young master Li wouldn't even look at ordinary soul stones. Ning Shu squinted. High quality soul stones? Didn't you absorb gold-colored soul stones? Pai Lupi nodded. Ning Shu was speechless. Directly absorbing soul origin, and not only that, but it wasn't pure either. This outcome was completely normal. If soul stones were like vegetables, then soul origin was like fish and meat. Eating and digesting it was all too normal. Moreover, the soul origin carried all the information and power of a soul, which he couldn't digest. The newborn calf was not afraid of the tiger. It fearlessly absorbed the golden soul stone. He had too many soul stones, so he didn't have to worry about using them. How much did you absorb? Ning Shu asked. Quite a lot. Pai Lupi lowered his head with his fist, his expression pained. Li Si cautiously asked Ning Shu, can young master still be saved? Who knows? This situation was a little tricky. It was easy to eat, but not easy to spit it out. Didn't she tell him to go all out to court death? Li Si saw that Ning Shu was silent and immediately begged, please save young master. Pai Lupi groaned in pain. He clenched his fists and hammered his head. Pai Lupi had been suppressing his anger. Previously, he was beaten into a dog by Big Brother and lost his body. He could only live in the form of a soul. Even after becoming a soul, Big Brother was still aggressive and didn't let him go. He harassed him time and time again. In the past, he used vines to kill the people sent by Big Brother, but Pai Lupi wasn't happy. The proud Pai Lupi didn't want to use this method. He wanted to become stronger and stand in front of Big Brother. Crush him to death. The business of heaven and earth treasures was getting better and better. There were more and more soul stones, and the quality was getting better. There were even golden soul stones. Pai Lupi had a resentful heart and kept absorbing soul stones. In the end, he didn't want to absorb normal soul stones and turned to golden soul stones. However, the more soul stones he absorbed, the stronger Pai Lupi felt. But his soul was out of control. Sometimes, his soul felt like it was being torn apart, and many people whispered. All of this made Pai Lupi's mood worse and worse, and he became more and more irritable. He was in a state of pain every day. Now that Ning Shu was talking to Pai Lupi was very impatient. He wanted to get angry, but in front of him was Ning Shu. It could be said that she was the only person who could save him. Pai Lupi tried his best to endure and endure. Ning Shu looked at Pai Lupi with a headache. To be honest, she really didn't have a way to save him. She said, "From now on, you can't absorb soul stones. Cultivation isn't done overnight. When your body was still there, you just needed to keep absorbing spirit chi to become stronger, right?" How could Pai Lupi not understand the same logic? Ning Shu saw Pai Lupi's face become more and more twisted in pain. He hugged his head with both hands, his eyes were scarlet, and his body was surrounded by a dense black aura. How many golden soul stones did he absorb? It seemed like this guy was hiding something from her. The soul stones that he gave her before were not golden. The best ones were mixed with a few strands of gold. He kept the good things for himself, but he ended up having problems. Ning Shu temporarily left her calm aura for Pai Lupi to use. The calm aura could suppress the negative emotions in one's heart. As for other things, she still had to think of a way. She was too lazy to care about this guy. Thinking about this guy's business, she had invested in 9 Palace Mountain. Since she took the money, she had to deal with all kinds of unexpected situations. Pai Lupi, who was supported by the calm aura, felt a little better. He felt like a clear stream had extinguished the thick flames in his heart. He felt much better, and his head didn't buzz as much. "Thank you." Pai Lupi thanked Ning Shu with a hoarse voice. Ning Shu squinted. "You're not being honest." "Actually, there aren't many golden soul stones. I admit that I kept some for myself." Pai Lupi said. "Not many can eat like this. I absorbed a lot of soul stones." "Tisk, you've only just recovered a little. You're playing tricks with me. Your condition can only be temporarily suppressed. It can't be cured. Also, you have to control your emotions." Ning Shu said coldly. "I understand." Pai Lupi gave Ning Shu the soul stones he had collected during this period. There were also a few golden soul stones. Ning Shu kept them. "Don't absorb anymore. You have to let your soul adapt." Ning Shu prepared to leave. "Does absorbing soul stones have such side effects?" Pai Lupi frowned. He couldn't absorb soul stones in the future. It wasn't that Pai Lupi was measuring the heart of a gentleman with his own yardstick. He felt that this girl was doing this on purpose so that he couldn't absorb soul stones. Then he would give all the soul stones to her. Ning Shu clicked her tongue. "You can think whatever you want in your heart. The soul stone is originally a stone formed by absorbing people's souls. The 7 emotions and 6 desires of the soul have not been processed. What do you think you will absorb when you absorb the soul stone?" Pai Lupi didn't say anything. He stared at Ning Shu's soul. "I feel that your soul is different from mine." The difference was even greater now. Pai Lupi, jealousy makes me ugly. /BK. Chapter 24:11. When Ning Shu heard Pai Lupi's words, she touched her face. "Am I prettier?" Pai Lupi. "No, it's just that you're very pure." "Why are you pure?" Standing next to her, he felt like he was covered in mud. Thinking about this, Pai Lupi couldn't help but take 2 steps closer to Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately took 2 steps back with her hands behind her back. "It's fine if you're going crazy, but you want me to be contaminated by these things. Stay away from me." Pai Lupi, that this woman was really heartless and cold. She was obviously disgusted. Ning Shu narrowed her eyes and said, Instead of thinking about absorbing impure soul stones all day long, why don't you find a way to purify them? Then, you can absorb as much as you want. As for what you ate, you should think of a way to spit it out and get rid of the black gas in your body. Then what can I do to purify soul stones? Pai Lupi asked. I don't make any. Then what do you absorb? Pai Lupi wanted to spit on her face. What kind of person was this? I don't absorb. My soul was born like this. I don't care about soul stones. To be precise, she didn't care about impure soul stones. She never touched them. Hee. Pai Lupi grinned. He didn't know what to say. Who was born with such a strong soul? To put it bluntly, she didn't want to tell him. Also, if she didn't care about soul stones, why did she collect them? She pretended to be indifferent to fame and fortune. Only profiteers would do such things. I really don't know how to purify soul stones. You can research more. Maybe you can soar into the sky and become the best in the world. You'll be a peerless expert and worshipped by thousands. Ningshu said. Pai Lupi, I don't want to listen to her at all. How could he purify a soul stone? If he could purify a soul stone, then he would definitely become rich. He would probably become a spirit body. Right now, Pai Lupi was very obsessed with soul stones. Ningshu looked at Pai Lupi's thoughtful expression and decided to let him do it. If he really succeeded, she would also benefit from it. I heard that your big brother often comes to trouble you? Ningshu asked. Pai Lupi's face revealed a mocking expression. If you're not strong enough, instead of cultivating properly, you play around with your authority all day long. All you can do is scare mortals. In this place where strength was respected, strength was everything. Power was not important at all. Based on his current wealth and treasures, if he wanted to return to the family and ask the family to give up on his big brother, the family would definitely do so, because the benefits he brought to the family were greater. However, he didn't want to go back. Otherwise, the heir of the family would have to step down at any time. He wanted to return in an even more powerful way. Even if it was his spirit body, it had to be extremely powerful. That was why he was desperately absorbing soul stones. Ningshu did not ask any more. This was someone else's family matter, and it had nothing to do with her. After leaving Pai Lupi's small courtyard, Ningshu went to see the golden earthworm. To be precise, he wanted to see the child in the golden thread grass bud. Ningshu walked into the mine. The earthworm was lying on the ground and sleeping soundly. Ningshu looked at the child in the bud. It was still so small. Could it be that this child would be so small his entire life? How could he find a boyfriend at such a small age? He heard that there was only one child, and there was no matching size. Ningshu poured some spirit liquid around the golden thread grass and dripped some emerald green liquid that was full of vitality. He then looked at the child in the bud. The child opened his golden eyes and stared at Ningshu without focusing. It was as if he was looking at Ningshu, but also as if he was looking behind Ningshu. In any case, he did not know what he was looking at. Ningshu glanced at the earthworm sleeping soundly on the golden thread grass. He felt that the earthworm was unlucky to be guarding this place. However, every time he opened his eyes, the earthworm was either sleeping or missing something. The child opened his eyes for a while before closing them. He curled up in the bud and slept. Ningshu hugged his head. He felt that no matter where he went, there would be children surrounding him. Ningshu kicked the sleeping earthworm awake. The earthworm woke up. Who? When the earthworm saw Ningshu, it immediately asked angrily, "What are you doing? Won't this child grow up in the future?" Ningshu did not know anything about such things. He guessed that the earthworm knew a little. The earthworm straightened its body and said uncertainly, "It should grow up." Then when will it grow up? Did it have to sleep in the bud for a few hundred years? A few hundred years on Nine Palace Mountain was unknown to the outside world. It had been a few thousand years. By then, she would have probably gone to the second level. No, she might have toured the entire Nine Palace Mountain. It was likely that she would not be able to see this child grow up. It was great that she did not have to raise a child. Ningshu felt a little hopeless when it came to creatures like children. The golden earthworm looked at Ningshu warily. "Why are you asking this? Are you trying to steal my child?" Ning Shu. Don't worry, I will never steal your child. The golden earthworm heaved a sigh of relief. However, due to his disgust for two-legged monsters, the golden earthworm never gave Ning Shu a good look. Of course, Ning Shu could not see his expression. He did not care about the earthworm's expression. If a human absorbed a lot of soul stones and went berserk, is there any way to solve it? Ning Shu asked the earthworm. Did he go berserk after absorbing too many soul stones? The earthworm said happily, serves him right. Great, another two-legged monster went berserk. Ning Shu was expressionless. I'm asking you if there's a way, not for you to gloat. No, this situation is hopeless. The soul stone's poison will only go deeper into the soul and cannot be removed. Two-legged monsters are greedy and will desperately absorb soul stones. The soul stone's poison is produced by the two-legged monsters themselves. You reap what you sow. Two-legged monsters harm other two-legged monsters. It feels so good. The earthworm wanted to do 2 somersaults to express its joy. Ning Shu looked at the happy earthworm. The soul stone was poisonous. It was the poison of the soul, the 7 emotions and 6 desires of humans. Your poison was removed from the soul stone, right? The earthworm's poison was so poisonous that it could pollute the soul of a person and contaminate mineral deposits. This poison came from a human. Yes, but two-legged monsters have no way to remove the poison. Any soul that absorbs a soul stone will be more or less poisoned, including you. The earthworm looked at Ning Shu. Ah, you're poisoned. Ning Shu frowned. This kind of poison would take root in the soul. There was no way to remove it? Fortunately, she did not absorb any impure soul stones. Moreover, when she mined in the future, she would have to wrap herself up. Otherwise, she would be contaminated by the soul stone's poison and her soul would be contaminated. Damn, it's really poisonous. That Pai Lupi situation would not be better unless she came up with a solution. /BK. Chapter 24:12. Ning Shu felt that something wasn't right. When a soul cultivator absorbed a soul stone, they would be more or less poisoned. If the soul couldn't continue and died, the poisoned soul would be absorbed by the heaven and earth, forming an even more turbid soul stone. It was simply a vicious cycle. Ning Shu felt that he had to quickly mine. It would be best if he could quickly enter the second level and see the quality of the soul stones there. Looking at how the earthworms removed the poison from the soul stone, he knew how strong the poison was. Damn, he had to be more careful when mining in the future. Once he touched it, it would slowly take root in his soul. What should he do then? He couldn't let his soul have any problems. His career would end here. She still had to build the world, look at the sea of stars, and stand at the peak of the mountain. However, humans were both poisonous and weak. Even the earthworms could evolve to remove the poison and use it as a weapon. However, humans couldn't. Perhaps many soul cultivators had already noticed it, but they couldn't solve it. If they wanted to become stronger, they could only absorb soul stones and drink poison to quench their thirst. In the end, they would be completely infected by the poison. After their soul dissipated, the poisoned soul energy and soul origin would be absorbed by the heaven and earth. Sigh, how sad. Ning Shu felt that if this continued, there would be problems with the 9-Palace Mountain world. Originally, the 9th level was the world of reincarnation. However, it was a deformed world of reincarnation where one could only leave and not enter. Otherwise, the reincarnation world's pool of reincarnation could remove the poison from the 7 emotions and 6 desires of the soul. The soul in reincarnation wouldn't have so much poison, and the poison wouldn't accumulate. Then, would the heavenly Tao of this world also be affected by the poison? Ning Shu suddenly realized that the 9-Palace Mountain seemed to have a problem. If the 9-Palace Mountain exploded, these extremely poisonous soul stones would fall into the world of reincarnation. Would it affect the world of reincarnation? To prevent problems from occurring in the world of reincarnation, she had been feeding pure soul energy. It was hard to imagine how this would affect the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu cursed in his heart. Should she move the 9-Palace Mountain out of the world of reincarnation? However, the Nine-Palace Mountain world wasn't her world. She couldn't move it at all. Because this was her world, she could easily pick up a peerless martial art. No matter how big the space inside the peerless martial art was, for her, this space had no power. But for others, this peerless martial art was absolutely as valuable as 1,000 pieces of gold. It was absolutely impossible for a powerless mortal to move a mountain. Against Nine-Palace Mountain, Ning Shu was a powerless mortal. Ning Shu pulled at his hair. What the fuck? The golden earthworm looked at Ning Shu's twisted and ferocious face and immediately asked expectantly, "Were you poisoned too? Did you absorb the soul stones?" "That's right, you have so many soul stones. You must have absorbed them." Ning Shu looked at the golden earthworm and said, "Just now, that baby woke up and even opened his eyes. Come on, let's hurt each other." The golden earthworm's body stiffened as if it had been struck by lightning. "Impossible. Did it see you? I'll bite you to death." Ning Shu nodded and said, "Yes, it woke up. Golden eyes. I'll bite you to death." The golden earthworm bared its fangs. Black venom floated on the fangs. Ning Shu was now very afraid of this poison. He couldn't wash it off after touching it. He calmly said, "I lied to you." He didn't open his eyes. Ning Shu took out a jade bottle and caught the venom floating on the golden earthworm's fangs. "What are you doing?" The golden earthworm immediately closed its mouth and covered its fangs. "I'm studying it." Ning Shu closed the bottle. The earthworm revealed a meaningful smile. It was unknown how it made such an expression. "You want to poison the other two-legged monsters, right?" Two-legged monsters are all creatures that are best at killing their own kind. They are very vicious to their own kind. Ning Shu said, "Yes, they are cruel to their own kind. So, no matter how I treat you, an alien, it's not cruel." The earthworm snorted, propped up its body and looked at the baby in the bud. It muttered and hummed, as if it was singing a lullaby. But if it heard his song, it would be more difficult to sleep. Ning Shu put away the bottle with a heavy heart. It seemed that he couldn't directly feed the soul stone in the world of samsara in the future. Although what he fed now was pure soul power, Ning Shu thought that after the world evolved and became more stable, he could feed the soul stone directly. But the soul stone was so poisonous that it couldn't be used. He had to use pure soul power all the time. Moreover, Ning Shu was a little worried now. Was the soul stone purified by the main system really pure? Worried. Ning Shu said to the earthworm, "I'm leaving." The earthworm ignored Ning Shu and stared at the baby in the bud with kind eyes like an old father. Ning Shu said, "This baby was born from the original soul liquid absorbed by the golden thread grass. The soul stone is so poisonous. Do you think the baby will also absorb the poison? If there was a problem with the mother's body, then there must be a problem with the child born." The golden earthworm's body stiffened. "It shouldn't be. The golden thread grass should be able to remove the bad things. The baby's whole body is golden. It shouldn't be contaminated." Ning Shu stretched out his finger and pushed the baby in the bud left and right to check if there were any black spots. "Be gentle. You are too rough." The golden earthworm saw the baby being pushed around and immediately said, after a careful check, it seemed that there were no black spots. "It doesn't seem to be contaminated." Ning Shu touched his chin and looked at the baby in the bud. "There is nothing on the outside. Maybe the body has begun to rot." "What are you going to do?" The golden earthworm looked at him in shock. "Are you going to cut its body open?" Ning Shu pondered. "Actually, there is a way. There is no need to cut it open. Check the color of the blood that flows out." Just like the golden earthworm, the blood in its body was golden. If it was really contaminated, the color of the blood would definitely be different. The blood was related to the health of the whole body. "No, you can't poke." The golden earthworm shook his head. "I won't allow it." "Whatever. If you don't allow it, then forget it." Ning Shu said indifferently. She was going to collect the original soul liquid in the underwater mine. When she went back, she would ask the main system if the soul stone's purification was really pure. Hey, why are you leaving?" The golden earthworm saw that Ning Shu was really leaving and hurriedly called out to her. The earthworm was now in a state of wanting to know and being afraid of knowing. It was the same as the patient's family. How about we prick it? Everyone can rest assured, the golden earthworm said. Ning Shu turned back, took out a very thin needle, and pricked the baby. /BK, you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.